Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report, and we are live. We go live every single Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Pacific. And I'll tell you this right now, today is probably going to be one of the juiciest shows that I have done in a very, very long time. I had a good old buddy of mine hit me up and gave me some information that I think a lot of Raider fans are going to be intrigued about. So we'll get into that here maybe in about 10, 15 minutes today on the Raiders Report. I got a lot of segments coming up here on the show. We are going to get into the latest news and rumors. There's some conflicting reports on Penix Jr. The Raiders are also going to be meeting with another quarterback on Friday. We'll take a deep dive into all of that. Some juicy rumors from some not-so-credible sources, but hey, we will end up talking about it. One of the segments that I like to try to do every year that I'm really excited about is I reached out to a bunch of my favorite Raiders content creators, and I had them do a mock draft for me. I'll kind of show you what it is. So I had Graf make a pick, Hammer make a pick, Wasted make a pick, Sanjeet, Samoa. We had a bunch of different Raiders content creators make all these picks, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grade them. On top of that, I'm going to be breaking down the top 10 corners that I want Antonio Pierce and Tom Telesco to potentially make in the NFL draft. But if you want to know what today's main topics of discussion are, it's going to be around the idea of the Raiders trading up for Jayden Daniels, or do you sit back and do you potentially take a guy like Penix Jr. at 13? Now, I'm going to give some shout-outs here on the show. I already see we got over 620 people tuning into the Raiders Report. Shout out to all the real ones out there. But, I want to have a good conversation, right? I know some people get mad at the stuff I ask on Twitter, and that's part of the gig. I ask questions on Twitter. I ask questions on Instagram. I give my takes here on YouTube. But the reason why I love doing this show is, you can disagree with people. But at the end of the day, I want us to be able to have conversations. Why? I love talking Raiders. I love talking shop. I love talking ball. So what would you guys do here? I see my man Tri-Van. What's up, Tri-Van? Mount Raidermore legend here in the building. Would you rather trade up for Jayden Daniels? So I'm talking 3 first-round picks, or pick Penix Jr. at number 13. Zelesbo going to go with Jayden Daniels. Diehard Jayden. Raider 58 rolling with Penix. I see Tri-Van's rolling with Jayden Daniels on top of all of that. CK says Penix Jr. Drew going to go with Penix Jr. Yoda Jenkins, King Shav, Cloud, Lucky King, all rolling with Jayden Daniels. I got a super chat rolling in here on the show from Brandon Johns. Why Penix or Jayden Daniels? I'll take Lionel Messi. I wish I had enough comprehension of soccer to even understand this type. I know Messi's probably the greatest soccer player of all time. Thanks for your donation. I don't really know what you want me to say to that, man. Thank you for supporting the show.
Well, Mitch.
Yes?
The thing is,
I'm listening.
if he wants to go see Lionel Messi when he comes to town, is there an app that he could possibly use to do that? Say Inter Miami, comes to play FC Dallas here in Dallas. Is there a way that we could go and get those tickets?
I'll tell you this.
Maybe last second.
I don't know.
Lowest price guaranteed.
I don't know if we've ever had a Messi leadway, but now's the time to do it. If you're looking for last-minute tickets, because if you're trying to see Messi, you better get him at the lowest price guaranteed.
Yeah, and sometimes I'm like, you know what? I don't want to plan on going to see Messi. I want it to be a last-second thing. Hey, boys, couple beers in. Y'all trying to go see Messi? Yeah, he's playing tonight. If only there was an app that we could use to find tickets last second, lowest price guaranteed.
I'll tell you this. I didn't even know if you planned on doing this. Luckily, there is an app that you can do that.
Wow.
It's kind of crazy, man. I want you to download the Game Time app.
Are you serious?
No, I'm not even shitting you. $20 off code Chat Sports, and if you're wondering how to spell it, it's CHATSPORTS. And
what does that even get you whenever you put in the promo code ChatSports, CHATSPORTS?
I would say it probably gets you $20 off, and I love this app because at the end of the day, getting tickets, it shouldn't be stressful.
No way.
And you should be able to snag the tickets without the stress with Game Time. So all I need people to do is download the Game Time app, create an account, use code ChatSports for $20 off, whether maybe you're looking for, easy to find, buy tickets around theater, maybe some comedy, some concerts. Some people probably watch this show and think it's a giant comedy event. But hey, I don't care what you're trying to do. I've been trying to up my game for date night. I've been trying to figure out fun things to do for under $50. It's not as easy in today's day and age. I'm trying to save up for a wedding. I'm trying to save up for a house. And you guys know Chuck's trying to get into Barkley. So I've been really trying to save my money. Game Time helps me do that.
And, we're two busy guys.
Yep.
We have a lot of stuff going on at work. We have the draft coming up. So it's hard to schedule stuff out because you never know when Devontae Adams is going to get traded to the Raiders or Stephon Diggs is going to get traded to the Texans. You never know. But
you never know if the Raiders are going to make a trade in the draft.
Yeah, like we're going to talk about later on. So maybe you want to wait until the last minute, get tickets at the lowest price guaranteed.
Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, man. All right, y'all. We got 800 people here in the building. Legendary Gaming Network. You can keep it moving if you want to, homie. I see Robinson City, 310, Chris Sales, Michael Guerrero, the Jokester. What up, Benjamin Delgado? A bunch of real ones. My man, Big Luck, decided to pull up here on the show. My question on the nation is, how much confidence do you have in the Raiders to get the draft right? This is a good question. You told me that you were going to hit me with something new today. I mean, think about it. The last few drafts with McDaniels, Mayock and Gruden, how much confidence do you have in Telesco and Antonio Pierce to get this one right? Honest question. Scale it from 1 to 100. 1, you're talking like you're having Gruden make all the picks again. 100, hey, we're ready to rock and roll.
I'm just saying, I'm glad the Raiders don't have to draft a defensive tackle because that seems like the one position the past 2 years the Raiders have just totally whiffed on.
Yeah.
Swing and miss after swing and miss at defensive tackle. Unless Byron Young, proves me wrong this year, which he
sure.
Hope
he does. I hope he proves me wrong.
Neil Farrell Jr., Matthew Butler, not looking like good picks in retrospect.
King Shav says 100. Junior's going to go with 69. Big Luck, 75. To me, I got to be able to put my faith in Antonio Pierce and Telesco, and hopefully Raider Muerte and the rest of the nation can get those good vibes going, because at this point, what else do we got besides the good vibes? 3 weeks away, NFL draft. Make sure you're subscribed. Jugs and I are going to be live for each and every pick. What up, Eric? What's up, brothers?
What's up, brother?
Work is always better when the Raiders Report is live. Continue the amazing videos and streams. Plumber from, I'm guessing that's Washington.
Special viewers, special super chats, special plays.
Eric Castro, I appreciate that. I know a lot of people watch the show when they're at work, doing a few other odds and ends, and the show that I have for all y'all on tap, I was really excited to do this show because I can't wait to show y'all what the content creators mock draft looks like.
Oh, it's a good one.
It's a lot of fun, and I like being able to do it. I like being able to interact with a lot of other content creators out there because, believe it or not, it's not that easy making content every day.
Can I spoil it without spoiling it for them?
What?
Mitch does not like one of the picks.
Yeah. All right. That's fair. Yeah, there's one person who I've already DM'd them, and I was like, just so you know, I might lay into you a little bit, and he said it's all good. He can handle it. So, but hey, you got to have thick skin here to be a Raider fan. We know that. One of the other segments coming up on today's show is on Tuesday, I talked about my top 10 linebackers that I want the Raiders to target this year. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the top 10 corners that I want the Raiders to target in the draft. Antonio Pierce said finding a cornerback one is a priority. Now, the way that these players are ranked is going to be based on overall team fit, where you could potentially get them in the draft. There's going to be some prospects that I don't think are better than others. However, based on the value, if I think that I can get one guy in round 5 or round 4 compared to where I think you might have to get him in round 3, that round 5 guy might be ranked higher based on value. So, will the Raiders draft a cornerback this year? Or do you think that they're just going to be like, I don't know, go sign an Xavier Howard or something?
When did you make that other video?
I made that one on Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Yes. I'll tell you this. If somebody has you on mute and you're doing that, there's a lot of suspicion.
Oh, the real ones know.
The real ones know. There's some people here in Texas that see you doing this, and with the Pornhub ban, that's good enough for them. Cullen's going to get mad at me because I keep making that joke, but he's not out there, unfortunately. I had to check to see if he was. We got 1,000 people here in the chat. If you don't hit that like button, Nico, Laz, Queen Sarah Otto, they're going to come looking for you, which I'm telling you right now, I don't know if you guys want that.
I do think for this question, second round, third round could be a sweet spot for corners. There's a lot of really good corners in this draft.
Dude, this cornerback draft is stacked.
Or in a trade back scenario, I like the Raiders trading back into the teens or 20s if they don't find a quarterback they like, recouping some picks and getting a corner in the first round still.
Yeah, we'll talk about what exactly is happening. I know I put out a hint on Twitter of what the big news is, but this is one of those things where I was kind of getting a show together. I got a text message probably, I don't even know what time it was, 12:30 or around 1 o'clock.
We have a bunch of people who watch Graph. They're invading our chat right now. Everybody's saying Graph, OLB, let's go.
Oh, man. I'll say this right now. If anybody throws a $100 super chat over on Graph's channel, I'll do a beer bong right now. On Graph's channel, not this one, Graph's channel. I'll do a beer bong. Let's get wild, right? We got a few more super chats to get to, and then I want to get into the news and rumors of today's show. What up, Giovanni? Mitch, you get a lot of hate for just publishing content revolving around the Raiders. People never look at the full picture. Best Raiders content ever. Giovanni, I appreciate that. But, I think the problem with today's world is people just can't have an adult conversation. Like, you and I can disagree on something, and just because we disagree on it doesn't mean that I'm going to attack you and your family. And I think sometimes, that's the problem with Twitter. But I think people don't understand how difficult it is to be a content creator and then come up with ideas every single day, come up with free ideas every single day. Like, don't get me wrong. People send in super chats. We do a lot of crazy stuff up on here, but that's people's money and they can spend what they want. I think people do what they do here because we have a good time and we have that commitment to excellence. But Giovanni, thank you for having my back. And this guy looks like he could pick up a truck with those shoulders. Yeah. So that might be another guy to add to the bodyguard list. What up, Rage? Stay, get a right offensive lineman, move up from 44 and grab Bo Nix. What do you think? I put out a video yesterday/Tuesday saying that the Raiders can't afford to draft Bo Nix. I think he's going to be a guaranteed bust in Las Vegas. If you're going to go check that one out, please go do so. I'm just not the guy that's going to be on Bo. And you can watch all the reasons why I say that. We are going to talk about, though, the Raiders potentially trading up today on the show. 93.5 man, new pick, new you. He goes cheap, I hear. Available at pick 13. He goes cheap. I think you're talking about Michael Penix Jr.?
No, he's saying himself is available at 13.
Oh.
He goes cheap.
I guess if you're going to go cheap 93, I'd rather try to get you at 229 and then just save up some of those other draft capitals.
Yeah.
Ultra VAB got a new pick. What's up, Ultra VAB? Let's get Jayden Daniels for 3 first-round picks. Well, one of the things that I'm going to talk about today, which is the juicy rumor that I heard, if anybody out there wants the Raiders to take a quarterback in round 1 is what I'll say. I think you're going to like what we have in store for y'all because AP and Telesco, they got something in the works. They're trying to do something. I don't know if anything is going to materialize from it, but they are definitely trying to get something rocking and rolling. All right, y'all, so coming up here, let's talk a little bit, some news, some rumors, the fun content creator mock draft, and then I got 10 corners to target in the 2024 NFL draft.
You know what? We're at 230 likes right now.
Okay.
Over 1,100 viewers on the chat right now. A lot of people sent over by Graph. Appreciate y'all for rocking and rolling with us today. Can we get a couple more likes before we get the show going? And Mitch breaks down the latest. It's pretty juicy, these rumors.
Today's a juicy one.
I would go Texas Roadhouse sirloin juicy.
Wow. With or without onions?
Medium rare on the side.
You get onions on the side?
I could get some grilled onions on the side.
I don't usually,
but that sounds good.
Dude, I love onions, so
a little grilled onion on the side.
You can't beat it. You can't beat it. All right, y'all. I think we got a few likes here on the stream. Again, y'all, we do a lot of different types of content on the show. I have a lot of fun making different types of stuff. And juicy or moist? Yikes. Maybe both. Maybe both. The cinnamon butter from Nico Laz. Yeah, that one hits different. That actually sounds pretty good. I haven't eaten anything today. That sounds fire. That sounds gas. All right, coming up, let's get into the latest news and rumors going on around the silver and black. Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report. And coming up on today's show, I had so many people send me this report. I don't even know what to call it. From CTESPN, Can I get a few FABs down below? We'll discuss what the hell he's talking about. Then there are some conflicting reports out there on Michael Penix Jr., so we'll kind of take a deep dive into that. The Raiders are on top of meeting with Penix, also meeting with another quarterback, and then I had a really interesting buddy reach out to me, tell me some juicy rumors around the Raiders and them potentially making a trade with the Miami Dolphins. So all of that is coming up here on today's show. If you don't know what the heck the CTESPN network is, you got to look it up on Twitter to believe it with your own eyes, because it's one hell of a Twitter banner, I'll tell you that. And according to them, look at this. The Raiders are in talks with the Patriots to trade down for the number 3 pick. I'm making this because I don't know if people know that this is Antonio Brown. And with the amount of people that messaged me this today, they were like, Mitch, I don't know if you saw this. I had one person on Twitter say, Mitch, I don't know if you saw the Connecticut ESPN tweeted out this. Like, this is not Connecticut. This is not ESPN. This is Antonio Brown. And I'm not for a second going to believe AB in anything that guy has to say. I will admit he throws a bunch of shit out there and sees what sticks, because there's a lot of stuff going on right now around the NFL. Like, do I know that the Patriots could potentially be looking to trade back? Yes, we talked about it before. We're about to talk about it again. Do I know that the Raiders love Jayden Daniels? Yes, all of that is 100% true. But I don't want to see people sending me CTESPN shit, because does anybody believe Antonio Brown? Do you? I really, really hope you don't, because he hasn't been the most reliable person. But I do think that in case you missed the latest going on around New England and some of the stuff going down with the Patriots, this is what Gerard Mayo had to say about potentially trading back from pick number 3. Like, do I think Antonio Brown has sources? No. Do I think maybe he talks to still some players in the NFL? Yes. Doesn't mean that he's that well connected. But this is what Mayo said. Look, we sit at a very enviable spot at number 3 where we can take someone, or if someone offers a bag, we should say, a lot of first-round picks. We definitely have to talk about those things. The reason why I put that one on here is because one of the things the Raiders are trying to do is acquire more first-round picks. And if that's what they think that they're trying to do to go up and make a deal, then there might be a little bit of truth to the Raiders trying to trade up to number 3 and that the Patriots are listening to trade back. One of the other things, though, that Mayo said, because it does take 2 to tango, we know LV's trying to move up to get Jayden. But will another team be willing to trade back? Mayo said, when I first started watching these guys, it was a 3-man race. And now as you continue to go to the combine or the pro days and bringing guys in on the 30 visits, having time to spend with those guys to really get to know what makes them tick. It's about 5 guys, honestly, that could come in and be a solid quarterback in the future. The reason why that's important is because what happens if they look at other quarterbacks in the draft and they go, my guy's not available at 3. Well, now there's 5 other quarterbacks that I like. Not, Caleb Williams gone. One of the other top quarterbacks will be gone at number 2. So that means 3 other QBs that Mayo was literally saying, like, yeah, I'm okay rolling with this upcoming season. Mayo also said this to Patriots fans. I understand the frustration and expectations built over the last 20 years, but we are trying to build this thing the right way for the long term. So when you're trying to build something the right way for the long term, Mayo said it himself that, and I want you guys to see what he has to say here, is he's trying to accumulate more picks. That's not what I'm saying. That's what Mayo said. I know everyone likes to think they have the special formula to picking players, but honestly, the guaranteed way to win is to accumulate more picks. So if we don't feel convicted at number 3, we are willing to trade back as well. So I just thought it was something to throw in there. I know what Antonio Brown put out there, and I don't want people to look at CTESPN and think like, all right, that's a credible source. However, I do want to at least fill people in on some of the background stories that are going on right now, because Ian Rappaport even said earlier this week that the Raiders are one of the teams that are absolutely trying to trade up to go get a quarterback. Rapchi also said the Vikings at number 11, which is important, and I'll explain that why here in a little bit. The Broncos at number 12 are all trying to move up. It is not a secret that AP wants Telesco to go up and get his guy in Jayden. The question is always going to be, how do the Raiders do that? And the reason why I'm talking about both is because the final thing that we talk about, this potential trade that AP and Telesco are trying to cook up, if these teams are looking for more first-round picks, well, then you got to be able to compete with some of those other teams. You got to be able to compete with a Minnesota Vikings team that has 2 first-round picks this year. That's exactly what the Raiders are trying to do. So I throw out a lot of different trade ideas that are sometimes mine, sometimes people from USA Today. So this one, I did not make it. Read the title, CBS Sports trade idea. Would you do this? If this is what it cost the Raiders to move up and go get Jayden Daniels, would you do it? Would you give up 3 first-round picks and a third-round pick, which is number 77 overall? Tell me right now. Give me a yes. Give me a no. This is going to be the pinned comment on today's show. So scroll on down. You're about to get hit with the YouTube ad break. And let me know, would you make this trade if it meant the Raiders getting Jayden Daniels? I am all in on Jayden at this point, and I don't believe that he would fail with Antonio Pierce. I have faith in this Raiders offense led by Jayden Daniels, who I do think is a leader of men. On top of that, when Antonio Pierce speaks, I listen. You add all of those things together on top of a quarterback that is unbelievably athletic, and he's gotten better time and time and time again. I am putting faith into Jayden Daniels. I am putting faith into this Raiders team. I am putting faith into the idea of we need a franchise quarterback. I believe that we are a quarterback away from not only being a playoff contender. If Jayden can turn into be a legit top 10 quarterback, a legit top 5 quarterback with this defense, with our coaching staff on the defensive side of the football, I'll say it. We could be a Super Bowl caliber team if Jayden really hits. Coming up next here on the show, I got a conflicting Michael Penix Jr. report, which I've seen now some updates since I've started making this show, and I'll kind of hit on that, but it's not too often that Ian Rappaport is wrong, and based off of some reports that came out today, I think Rap Sheet was wrong in terms of some stuff that he put out there on Michael Penix Jr. I'll tell you what that is in just a minute, but hey, if you haven't already heard about Game Time, I do want you guys to listen up here. If there is an app that makes buying tickets easier for you, I do think it's important. And I know that a lot of people that watch this show, which it is what it is, right? Some of y'all are a little bit older, like my dad, and aren't the best with technology. If my dad can take less than 5 minutes to get a ticket to a sporting event, I promise you that you can get a ticket in less than 5 minutes, because I do think buying tickets to your favorite events, like, it shouldn't be stressful. It should be easy, and I want you to be able to snag the tickets without the stress with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all sports, music, comedy, theater, and events near you. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their best price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. So if you don't know how to spell Chat Sports, it's CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. I know that there are needs and then there are wants. I am trying to save up for a house. I am trying to save up for a wedding. I'm trying to save up to get my dog Chuck into Barkley. All of those are needs. Game Time tickets, that is a want. But I also want to be able to find cheap tickets, and I don't want the stress when I do it. If you're like me, go down to the comments, go down to the description of today's show, and click on that link. We got you covered. All right, let's get into some of these conflicting reports now around Michael Penix Jr., because today, Jordan Schultz said the Vikings flew out their whole staff for a private workout with Michael Penix Jr. in Seattle, including head coach Kevin O'Connell, GM Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, sources say. Then he also said that I'm told Penix has a top 30 visit with the Raiders today, who currently hold the number 13 pick. The reason why that there are some conflicting reports is Albert Breer also doubled down on this and said essentially that the Raiders are meeting with Penix today, and Bo Nix has a top 30 visit with the Silver and Black tomorrow, but Breer and Schultz seem to be on the same page, where Ian Rappaport reported yesterday, you'll notice the dates down below, April 3rd, that the Raiders are hosting Penix today on a top 30 visit. So, again, I don't know if Rap Sheet misses all that often. Maybe he just heard that they're going to end up doing it and assumed that it was going to be today. I do know that Penix was with the Denver Broncos on Tuesday. Sounds like he went to Washington yesterday, or not Washington, Seattle, yesterday, and now he's going to be meeting with the Silver and Black. It's also been reported, I've also talked about on the show, that it does sound like the Raiders are going to be meeting with another quarterback, maybe other prospects on Friday to have more private meetings. But what I want people to look at here is, because I'm a sucker for where there's smoke, there's fire, right? I've said it 100 times on this show. When you look at the latest Michael Penix odds, and you can believe what beat reporters say, you can believe what national media guys say, I also always watch Vegas. Where's the money going? Because Vegas a lot of times knows. Now, the last time that these odds were updated was April 2nd. Vikings at plus 275, Raiders at plus 350. Those are realistically the only teams that I care about. And the reason why that I care about those two teams is because the Minnesota Vikings made a deal with the Houston Texans to get that 23rd overall pick. So now they have pick 11. They have pick 23. Remember, Gerard Mayo, earlier in the show I was talking about, said if we can get multiple first-round picks, a bag, could it be easier for the Raiders to trade up? What happens if the Raiders heard a rumor that Minnesota's a team that's trying to move up to 3 and they have multiple first-round picks? If I'm Las Vegas, I go, cool. If I want Jayden Daniels, I'm going to have to figure out a way to get another first-round pick, or maybe I'll just have a fallback plan and try to get a guy like Michael Penix Jr., but I might have to get a pick before the Vikings are picking at 23. So is Penix meeting with the Raiders? Yes. Rappaport said on April 3rd. It seems like it is going to end up being today. It's also been put out there by Vincent Bonsignor that the Raiders are going to be meeting with Penix today. But I'll say this, plan A has always been and always will be, how can the Raiders get Jayden Daniels? And based on the story that I heard today, based on Vegas odds, based on Gerard Mayo, there's no doubt in my mind that my buddy, which we'll talk about here in a second, is telling me some real-life information that Antonio Pierce and Tom Telesco are trying to make a big-time splash, because we talk about all the time, trading up, getting into the top 3, Jayden Daniels. Now a lot of smoke is starting to build up around Penix stock, continue to rise and rise and rise. Well, what if the Raiders are trying to just be prepared? If they miss on Jayden, maybe still want to pick somebody at 13, or could you still try to get Penix early on in round 1? Because coming up here on the show, I am telling you, according to a source close to me, that the Raiders tried to trade up with the Miami Dolphins. So I had a text message today from one of my good friends, and I'm talking like this guy invited me to his wedding, right? Like this isn't somebody who's just bullshitting with me. And he told me that the Raiders tried to trade up with the Miami Dolphins, and Miami said no. Las Vegas is right now currently trying to get another first-round pick because they know that they are competing with Minnesota, and it sounds like Minnesota has been a very aggressive team trying to move up. They know what Gerard Mayo said. They know what a lot of other NFL teams value right now, and this would help them try to get a deal done to move up for Jayden, but it also is a fallback plan in case they can't trade up for Jayden, and then you can still try to get a guy like Michael Penix Jr. So according to my source, this was the trade that Antonio Pierce and Tom Telesco offered the Miami Dolphins, and I need to say this again. This is what my source told me, but the Dolphins declined it. They already said no to it. So this was a swing and a miss by the Raiders. When you look at the trade value chart, it's still technically not enough to go up and get pick number 21. I can also understand Miami being like, well, we didn't even have a first-round pick last year, so I want a first-round pick this year. But essentially what it would have been was Dolphins get 44, 77, and 112. The Raiders get pick number 21. Las Vegas is preparing to do something. I'm not saying that it's going to happen, but like it should not surprise anybody that these type of conversations are happening based on we know that AP wants a franchise quarterback, not a Band-Aid, somebody that they can have for the next 10 years. And I believe that they think it's Jayden Daniels or Michael Penix Jr. So if the Raiders are trying to get another first, this aligns with the Raiders doing everything that we have been talking about on this show. It aligns with everything that a lot of people have been talking about on the show. They want a franchise quarterback. They want to figure out how to get one. They're trying to accumulate more picks. And where there is smoke, there is fire, and I believe there is a lot of smoke right now around the Raiders trying to accumulate another first-round pick during the 2024 NFL Draft. So if you guys could pick one quarterback, right, pick one situation here, what would you do? Would you trade up 3 first-round picks to go get Jayden Daniels, or would you pick Michael Penix Jr. at number 13? Because what I do find interesting is if the Raiders do figure out a way to make a trade like this with Miami, okay, and they're able to get up to 21. Remember, Minnesota's at 23. So let's just say that's like kind of where the Raiders are trying to get right now, 21. Could you potentially take an offensive tackle like a Talisi Fuaga at number 13? And then are you okay with that 21 going, all right, I'll take Michael Penix Jr. or Bo Nix? Y'all know where I stand on Bo Nix, but it's also been reported that Telesco likes Bo. I don't think that he has a first-round grade on him. I don't see how anybody in the NFL has a first-round grade on Bo Nix, but that's just me again. But are the Raiders trying to prep themselves where, all right, we got 13 and 21. What would you do? I mean, what would you do out of these scenarios? I know it's a tough one.
This one's tough. I mean, I want to say it depends on what you have to give up to get Jayden Daniels, because there is a limit to where it's like, do you think Jayden Daniels is going to be that much better than Michael Penix? Do you think he's head and shoulders above Michael Penix to do all these things to trade up?
Yeah.
And like mortgage your future on, like, because you're basically mortgaging your future on Jayden Daniels if you're doing this. If you're taking Michael Penix at 13, you're not mortgaging your future. You're wasting another first-round pick, which would suck with the Raiders' history of first-round picks the past couple of years. But you're not mortgaging your future. So I don't know. I think I might go MP.
Okay.
Yeah. I like Jayden Daniels, but am I like 100% confident he's gonna be the guy and take this Raiders team to the next level? I mean, I'm not 100. Like I'm confident. I think he's a good quarterback.
I mean, I don't think anybody can be 100% sure. Now, I will admit, if you were to ask me which quarterback do the Raiders have a better chance of winning the Super Bowl with, like, I'm going to say Jayden. And I don't look at Jayden as being a quarterback that's going to bust in Las Vegas. Like, if the Patriots draft Jayden Daniels, I don't think he's going to have success. If the Commanders draft Jayden Daniels, I don't think he's going to have success there. Like, it is okay to say that I really like a quarterback, but I don't like a quarterback in every situation. Like, I think Bo Nix, if he gets drafted by the Broncos, actually might have a halfway decent shot to succeed because I trust him with Sean Payton. I don't trust the Raiders, Rich Scangarillo, Luke Getsy, to get the most out of a quarterback like Bo Nix that I look at as a two-year project. And like, every situation is different.
I don't know what it is. I think it's because the glasses, people think I'm a little bit smarter today. More people are agreeing with me than usual. I don't know what I think it's the glasses. Also, I know you have to change your jersey. Graf just said bang in the comment section.
What does that mean? Did it happen, Graf?
I think Graf banged.
The Graf was banging over there?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to switch my jersey here real quick. I'll wait to see if Graf can confirm that, and we'll keep the show moving.
Okay, cool.
Also, if anybody wants to get in our 50-50 raffle today, $20 Venmo, we're going to do that one at the very end of today's show. And I'll say this. First person to get in, I'm giving you 2 entries. At Mitchell Renz 365, $20 Venmo.
Bam, right there. If anybody wants to get in, our 50-50 raffle at the end of the show, $20 Venmo to Mitchell Renz 365. I'm telling you, usually people don't agree with me. Usually people are roasting me in the chat, but I think it might just be the glasses. Do I wear the glasses more? Why for yes and for no? I don't know. Let's see. What are y'all saying in the chat? Black Line Supreme says Jayden Daniels. Def Halo says Jayden Daniels. Sienna was saying that she agreed with me. Michael Penix. Young Danny says Jayden Daniels. Bruce says Michael Penix. We do have some super chats rolling through as well. Let's see. Anthony Morales. Easy to say trade up for Daniels, but we're not guaranteed to get him with the first 2 picks ahead of us. It really depends on draft night. Yeah, and that might be the reason why teams are waiting to trade up, because they don't know what the Commanders are going to do at 2. There's been rumors of Drake May. There's been rumors of J.J. McCarthy. Now Jayden Daniels. I think it could be any 3 of those. Realistically, I think it could be any 3 of those guys at number 2. I don't think the Commanders themselves know who they're going to pick at number 2 yet, because everybody knows the Bears are taking Caleb Williams at 1.
Yep.
I don't think the Commanders know who they're taking at 2.
And again, like, I will always say, until I see that this rumor has been debunked, I'm always going to think about it.
I think it's going to be a draft day trade, if anything. I think it's going to be Washington makes their decision, then domino effect down the line of who's going to trade up and who's going to give up what.
I mean, Tom Pelissero last week said that the Commanders are leaning towards J.J. McCarthy, or like that he's been hearing J.J. McCarthy. There was a rumor about a month and a half ago saying that Jayden, doesn't really like Adam Peters from the San Francisco 49ers, because Peters a few years back said that he was never going to be good in the NFL essentially, and wasn't all that high on him. Jayden debunked the, hey, it's cap that I don't want to go to New England. He never has. Maybe he never seen it, maybe he doesn't know about it, but he has never said, like, cap to the rumors around him and Adam Peters, which,
Yeah.
I mean, I do think that deserves to be at least a bit of a conversation. What up, Real Cowboy? Hell no to Bo. I'm with Chugs.
Penix.
Rolling with the Penix. Oh, Michael Penix Jr. I mean, I'll say this. If you're telling me I got to pick between Michael Penix Jr. at 13 or Bo Nix at 44, I'm rolling with Penix, and it's not close to me.
Yeah.
I'm not on the Bo Nix train. John, Mitch, we need to stop overhyping Jayden Daniels. It's all over again. He's not worth 3 firsts.
Just because he goes to LSU.
Yeah, I don't get it, man.
It's not even the same coach there. It's not even.
They're not even the same type of quarterback, and I just don't want people to just say this because of the LSU helmet.
Oh, I was about to say, Graf is in the chat, I guess. If you
Graf, did you bang on your show? Did you get a hundo? You let me know. I mean, again, like, you can have your reservations about him. I don't think I am overhyping him. I'm looking at a player that had 40 touchdowns, 4 interceptions last season, over 1,000 rushing yards. His area that scares me the most, which I've been very vocal about, is he needs to be better at throwing in the middle of the field. There's no doubt about that. But for how much better he's gotten from Arizona State to LSU this past year, he won the Heisman Trophy. Like, you can say, like, oh, he's Jamarcus Russell. I could also say the last quarterback that rocked an LSU helmet that won the Heisman, he's pretty damn good in the NFL. I am also doing this based on my faith, my belief that Antonio Pierce and Jayden Daniels, that's the recipe for success. I've already said it. I don't think Jayden's going to be good on the Patriots. I don't think Jayden's going to have the success with the Commanders. I do think Jayden would be good on the Minnesota Vikings. Real talk, I don't think Jayden would be as good on the Denver Broncos. But AP and Jayden, I believe in AP. And because of that, I'm okay giving up that future because I think it's going to work. I'm not sitting up here saying anything. I'm not going to give up 3 first-round picks unless I truly believe in my heart of hearts that it is going to happen. Graf says it did indeed, per source. If you miss on either JD or Penix, then get Rattler in the second. Why do that? You're saying if you don't get Jayden or if you don't get Michael Penix Jr. I thought you were saying if Jayden and Michael end up not being the right players for the Raiders, you should still just draft Spencer Rattler for extra insurance. Yeah, that's Rattler. Even that though, I'm not going to take Rattler in round 2. I would rather you hold off for Rattler until round 3.
Yeah.
Because I don't think Rattler's beating out Aiden, and I don't think Rattler's beating out even Gardner Minshew in year 1. Yeah, you might have to sit back, and he has the higher upside out of those 2 dudes. But, in year 1, he's not beating those guys out.
No way.
What up, Nab, man?
Where's the evidence that we ever have traded away tons of picks for a single player and had any success? Evidence anybody has? Only 2 Heisman winners have ever won a Super Bowl at QB, right? Jeez. There you have it. It's never been done before, so it'll never happen ever.
Correct. I also say again, I do think Joe Burrow wins a Super Bowl at some point in his career. I really do.
To answer his first pick, did the Raiders not give up a first-round pick plus to get Devontae Adams?
Yes.
I would say a first and a second would be tons of picks.
It's a lot of picks. I know they gave up a lot for Carson Palmer. That one didn't really work out all that well. But, I'll also say this, right? If you want to talk about history, because I do think that's the double-edged side here for me as a Raider fan, where time and time again, think about how many drafts we've had swing and misses in the first round. Nabman, if I told you could trade Cleveland Ferrell, Josh Jacobs, Jonathan Abram, Henry Ruggs, Damon Arnett, Alex Leatherwood, Tyree Wilson to move up in the draft, you would do it, right? Not every situation is the exact same. There's some teams out there that have had a lot of success in the first round, that have had a lot of success drafting. The Raiders haven't been that team. So for me, I'm okay with it. F them picks. Let's go get my guy.
If it was up to Nav, man, Stroud would have gone undrafted last year. Because no Ohio State quarterback has ever been good.
Again, I love the passion here. That's why I love doing these shows. That's why I love having these conversations. But, I think that we need to just say every situation is different. And in this situation, I'm trying to go get Jayden. Mr. Panda, it's not Bo knows, more like Bo, no thank you. Mr. Panda Express. Panda Express right now.
It's Mr. Panda Express 420 to you.
What's actually funny is that's the face that Coop makes after Panda. It's a giant green portal opens up, and then you guys can do the rest of the math. Y'all can do the rest of the math there.
PM.
What's up, PM? We have whiffed so much on first, F them picks, and get Jayden Daniels. I mean, that's my mindset, too. I'm done being mediocre. I'm done being 500. Like, I don't want to do this show anymore. If you told me the Raiders are just going to be 8-9, 7-10, 9-win team for the next 10 years, like, Derek Carr was a good quarterback. He was never good enough to win a Super Bowl. He was never good enough to win a playoff game. Aiden O'Connell, I think, can be a good quarterback. Gardner Minshew, I think, can be a good quarterback. But are they going to be the guy that gets you that Lombardi trophy? My answer to that is no. So if you know that, what are we doing? Like, I would rather the Raiders take the biggest swing, and if it hits, it's worth every penny on that trade. If it's a miss, then to me, at least we tried, because I would rather a team try to win a Super Bowl instead of being okay with being average and mediocre. Because where does that get you? It gets you at picks 13, 12, and 19 a few years ago. Pick 17. Like, you just stay in purgatory. I'm done being in purgatory. We got the 10 Commandments. Knowing how brutal our upcoming schedule, don't you think we should get an immediate impact player with 13 instead of someone who will ride the bench this season? I don't think that it's guaranteed that Jayden rides the bench this season. I think if you trade up for Jayden, he's going to be your starting quarterback. And whether you like to hear it or not, I think if that ends up happening, might mean Aiden's going somewhere else. Like, they signed Gardner Minshew. Like, that's going to be their backup quarterback. That's their plan.
And even if you draft Michael Penix at 13, I still think he starts. I don't think you sit Michael Penix for a year because he's ready to play. I mean, he's an older quarterback. He's a more proven quarterback with what he's done in college. I think he plays right away. I don't see him sitting for a year. At least me personally.
And Black Lion Supreme, I don't mean to put it all on Derek, but I do think that there has to be a level of when you're made to be the highest paid player in the NFL, which Derek Carr was at one point. He signed a contract that made him the highest paid quarterback in the NFL, okay? That, to me, means that you need to be able to carry your team to a certain level no matter what. And once they gave him that money, it never ended up working out. Like, that's just the God-honest truth to me. So I don't ever say that it's all on DC. It's a game. Like, it's a team game. I know that through and through. I know if Derek Carr's the quarterback of the Raiders last season, you probably are in the playoffs. I don't think that you win a playoff game, but because how good that Raiders defense was, you can get to the playoffs. I just don't want to just get to the playoffs. It's not commitment to win 10 games. It's not commitment to let's be average. It's commitment to excellence, and you need a quarterback in order for you to do that. Real Cowboy, the Raiders have had success with Heisman winners. 81, 24 were kind of good. There you go. Charles Woodson, Tim Brown. Decent, right? Like, I mean, those are pretty damn good players last time I asked. And sometimes you got to be aggressive to go get what you want. Like, look at what the Rams have done. The Rams have been a team that has been saying, F the picks. They haven't had a first-round pick since 2016 when they took Jared Goff. And they've been a pretty damn good team. They won a Super Bowl. Like, every team needs to be a little bit different. Every team is, and I'm okay being a little bit different. I'm also okay you giving up all those picks to go get a player on the offensive side of the football because I'm so damn confident in our coaching staff on the defensive side of the football. Like, the Raiders spent the second least amount of money last year and were arguably one of the best defenses, if not the best defense, the final 9 games of the season when AP took over. Johnny Black, salute. Miguel, been a fan. It's time to change. Go get our guy, Jayden Daniels. I'm down for a change too, man. I'm down for a change too. I got one more coming in from Common, and then I'm going to see everybody that's in for this duck race here. It's commitment to excellence, not commitment to kind of okay. Taking the swing and trade up for Jayden Daniels. I'm with you.
Could you imagine the shirts?
Commitment to kind of okay. I've seen it before. I just don't want to see it again. All right, I'm going to look real quick here at my phone and see who is in our duck race. And if you want a chance to get in, it's a $20 Venmo at Mitchell Renz 365. The person who is getting the extra entry is Steven Huerta. Steven H., you get yours. Luis Rodriguez was really close. The Great Tuna was close, and then Frank Arias is how you pronounce that, I want to say.
Speaking of the Great Tuna.
Oh, the greatest.
In our 50-50 raffle because he Venmo'd Mitch at Mitchell Renz 365.
Which means right now, 20 to get in for a chance to win $50. Brandon, said it before, I'll say it again, but we should have kept DC for another couple of years. DC was a top 12 quarterback last year. I would have let someone develop behind him. Yeah, I mean, no disrespect, Brandon. I think you're very wrong on that. I think it was the perfect time to move on from Derek. Derek hasn't been a top 20 quarterback, in my opinion, the last 2 seasons, and he definitely wasn't top 12 last year. I don't know where you're getting those numbers. I think you're watching somebody else who I'm not a big fan of. But, Derek was not a top 12 quarterback last year. There's no way that anybody, I think, thinks that. Yeah, I know it was a tough way that it ended up going down. Like, if you would tell me, would I have rather kept Derek Carr or Josh McDaniels? Like, obviously, I hated Josh McDaniels probably more than anybody I've ever had on this entire show. But, like, you can say that, yeah, the Raiders would have been better with DC last season, but you can also say that it was the right decision for this organization to decide to move on from Derek Carr. Like, both of those two things can be true.
Derek Carr was tied for 19th, according to PFF and their quarterback rankings from last year.
Again, I don't really love PFF, but for somebody that has got a lot of friends that are Saints fans, for people that, we have a Saints show here. I mean, people were begging the Saints to bench him. Like, you're not begging anybody to bench a top 12 quarterback in the NFL, but it is what it is. I don't even want to get into this Derek Carr conversation yet. Somehow we still get here. And somehow we always get here. What's up? It's Hate. In all honesty, I would rather trade future picks for Dak than an unproven rookie. Dak was just right by coaching in the playoffs. See, my other reason why I'm not going to agree with this, and I know a lot of people think that I made the trade from USA Today, but I didn't. Shocker. I'm not going to trade for Dak Prescott because you are going to have to give up a lot of picks because the Cowboys are going to want a lot of picks for Dak. And then you're going to have to pay him $50 million a year. Like, I think Dak is a very good quarterback. I do think that he's a top 10 quarterback. And I do think that if the Raiders had Dak, they're a playoff caliber team. They might even win a playoff game. But here's the other thing that I'll continue to say. I will never, ever trade for Dak Prescott because I don't think he will ever win a Super Bowl. Like, he's not a leader of men to me. He's not a quarterback where when it gets tough and you got to look in that huddle and you got 10 other eyes looking at you, you want your quarterback to wreak confidence that, all right, we are going to get that first down. It's third and whatever. We're going to pick it up. I'm going to do whatever I can to win. Dak doesn't give me that vibe. And, like, he can be a great regular season quarterback. He's a hell of a regular season quarterback. But does anybody out there, give me a Y for yes and for no, believe that Dak Prescott will ever win a Super Bowl? My answer to that is no. And because it's a no, I'm not going to trade for him. Like,
with the Raiders defense, maybe.
I don't think Dak with the Raiders, like, you could have the greatest defense of all time. People act like the Cowboys defense wasn't really good last year.
Well, they got smoked by the Packers.
And again, Green Bay played really good football. I mean, Green Bay was rolling at the end of the season.
They ran it down their throat.
They were rolling at the end of the season. But, like, the Cowboys had one of the best defenses in the NFL last year, and they still got bounced round one of the playoffs. Like, my bigger point is if I got to trade up everything, because I think, honestly, what it takes for you to trade for Dak Prescott and then you're going to pay him $50 million, why not just give all those picks and go get your guy in Jayden on a rookie contract?
I wouldn't trade for Dak.
Okay.
I would wait. I would maybe say you don't get your guy in the draft this year. Wait to see at the end of the season if Dak hits free agency. I wouldn't mind testing those waters. I wouldn't trade for him, though.
Yeah,
Raider Rick, depends on who you like better. Daniels, you give up picks. With Penix, you rebuild the right side of the line, both costly.
Here, can you take over for a second? I want to tweet out this video. The Raiders.
Of course. Raider Rick. Yeah, I mean, it really comes down to how much do you like Daniels and are you willing to give up those picks to go get Daniels? With Penix, it's a little bit less of an investment, a little bit less of, putting stock into him. But if it's worth it, if Daniels is the guy, then it could be worth it. Rock and Jock, 32, won the Heisman, won a Super Bowl 18, and the MVP. I mean, no, if you're a Heisman winner, you can't be good in the NFL. Those are the rules, Rock and Jock. Those are the rules. Well,
so I've been told.
I think a lot of people are excited for this next segment, Mitch.
Yeah, I'm excited for this next segment. Or do we decide to make the content creator mock draft the last thing we do? Make people hang around for a little bit longer. What do you think is the more fun segment? I think the content creator mock draft is more fun, personally. I'm just being honest with y'all, than the 10 cornerbacks to target. So let's do 10 cornerbacks to target. I'm kind of down to do. I want to mix it up here a little bit. Big Luck says Messi didn't win a Heisman. Also true.
That is facts.
Also true. All right, y'all, if you haven't already, make sure you click that like button right now. Believe it or not, it does help us out a lot. Also, to the people that are in our duck race, I see Jason EB has got 2 entries in here, which means $20 Venmo. You'd have a shot to win $70 here on the Raiders Report. Decent amount. We got, 1,350 people here watching. I think some of the other content creators might still be here in the chat. Graf, I loved Graf's pick. I'll be honest with y'all. Wasted had a really good pick too. There's a few people though that I was like, man, I don't know. I don't know, man. We'll talk about them though. Jeffrey, you know the answer to that one. I think you already know the answer to that one. I took the best Raiders content creators out there. That's what I ended up doing. And people that I've been able to build good friendships with, good relationships with over the past, many, many years. And I hope every person that I put in this mock draft watches the video and then they make a video on me making a video on it. Like, I think that's how content creators need to start working. They need to do that. Nico, people are talking. Sienna, yeah, y'all already know. We got 1,334 people here. If you were wondering what the juicy rumor was, it was around the Raiders trying to make a trade with the Miami Dolphins. If you want to see the whole rundown of all of that, I just put out a video on YouTube. I also just tweeted it out. It's also on my IG at Mitchell Renz 365. So I'm ready now to get into these top 10 corners that I want the Raiders to target in the 2024 NFL Draft. Jugs, you ready?
I'm ready.
Y'all ready for this? Let's get into it right now. Raider Nation, what's going on? Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report. And coming up on today's show, the top 10 cornerback targets for the Las Vegas Raiders in the 2024 NFL Draft. Now, when I'm making this show, one of the things that I think a lot of people have to realize is the rankings are not based on the top 10 corners in the draft. The rankings are based on how I think a player fits with their skill set, with Patrick Graham, with our coaching staff. Another thing is we got to think about the overall projected draft cost. Like, there are some players that you're going to see that I'm like, we can get him in round 4. And because we can get that player in round 4, because we can get that player in round 3, that's a better value to me based on need and other players available than some other corners that you might have to take in round 2. Other corners that you might have to take in round 1. So that is how these rankings are going. And at the end of the day, if AP and Telesco want to check out this video and they want to put a few of these guys on their big board, I would be honored, and I also think it would be a very smart thing for them to do. If you want more videos like this, hit that subscribe button because I am going to make a video like this around every single position leading up to the 2024 NFL Draft. What's crazy is we're like 3 weeks away, man. 3 weeks away from the NFL Draft, April 25th. Chugs and I, we're going to be live here on this show. We're going to get the picks before you see them on TV. And if you want to check out some of the other videos that I've made on positions as well, I did drop a top 10 linebackers video. And I know linebacker is an important position for Telesco. Since Telesco has been a general manager from 2013 to 2023, the position that he has targeted the most in the draft, linebacker. Important with Antonio Pierce, and now with the cornerback video that I'm dropping now, we know that Antonio Pierce said that finding a true cornerback one is a priority for the Silver and Black. So let's get into this one right now. Coming in here at number 10 of corners that I want the Raiders to target in the draft, I'm going to go with Nehemiah Pritchett, corner from Auburn. And anybody that has watched a lot of my mock drafts, this continues to be a dude that I target and that I get late in the rounds because of the value there. He has size and athleticism to handle multiple coverage techniques, which is something that I say time and time again. It's the word where I feel like every time I say versatility, y'all should take a drink to it. But good pressure corner that likes to get in the face of the receiver early on routes. Like, he's going to be somebody that he's going to bring that fire and tenacity. And one of the things that I look at is they need to be able to find a replacement for Amik Robertson, right? If I told you that Nehemiah Pritchett could be that replacement for Amik Robertson that's going to bring that fire, going to bring that spark, and he's 6'1", 185 pounds, like, he is a below-average tackler. He needs to be better in that game. Like, he needs to have more of the want behind it. I'm also a believer in connections. The NFL is filled with them. Yeah, it's a different position, but Pritchett, Raiders' new running back coach, Carnell Cadillac Williams, was previously at Auburn. Maybe he's worked with this guy a little bit and a little bit more of a tip of a cap. Last season with the Auburn Tigers, 22 tackles, 1 interception, a player that I'm willing to target in round 5. Round 6, he makes my list. Let's go to number 9 here, and this is one of the prospects that there's some tape I watch on him, and I absolutely love. There's other tape I watch on him, and I'm like, man, I just don't get the hype of why some people think that this guy could be a first-round pick. It's TJ Tampa out of Iowa State. And he's, again, probably one of the most intriguing prospects to me at this position because he is a physical corner. He's got the long arms. His hands are monstrous. You know what they say about big hands? It makes it easier for you to be able to jam a player at the line of scrimmage. What'd you think I was going to say? But I do think that that's an advantage, and I do think that that's something that Patrick Graham and this team wants because they want to be physical. They want to be a team that's up in your face. They want to be a team that knows at the end of that 60 minutes of them playing, you knew that you went up against the Las Vegas Raiders. Like, your body is feeling it. Like, I do think he's got decent closing bursts. He does not quite have the true top-end speed, and his hips aren't quite moving the way that I want, and I do think he could end up getting burned a lot more often in the NFL than he did in college. He is an outside cornerback only. He really struggles with quick type of receivers. Like, if it was in camp and you put TJ Tampa up on Jacoby Myers, I actually think he'd do a pretty decent job against him. You put Trey Tucker on Tampa, Trey Tucker's going to eat this guy alive. Last season with the Cyclones, 44 tackles, 2 INTs, 7 PBUs, 3 tackles for loss. I do think, and the reason why I have him at 9 is because he's not going to fall outside of round 2 to me. Like, this is a dude that's going to go in either the first or second round of the 2024 NFL draft, and because of that, I am not as high on him compared to some other people out there, compared to some other players that I believe that you could potentially get in this year's class. Could he turn out to be a hell of a corner? Yes, he absolutely could turn out to be a hell of a corner. He's got good work ethic. He's tough. He's got the right mindset that you definitely need, and he's gone up against some pretty solid players. And at 6'2", 200 pounds, with some of the production that he's had, he's a round 2 target. But because he's a round 2 target, there's just a lot of other players that I would rather get at pick 44. There's a lot of other players that I would rather the silver and black target, where I think you would have to end up taking a guy like TJ Tampa. Let's go to number 8, and this is one of just my guys. It's Cam Hart. I am not saying that Cam Hart is better than TJ Tampa by any stretch of the imagination. I'm saying I like the value of Hart a lot more than I like the value of Tampa, which is why he comes in here at number 8. It's no secret that Telesco, loves Notre Dame players. And he's got that rare blend of elite size plus athleticism. He's one of Feldman's freaks. And to make that list, you just got to be an athletic specimen. The tape, and this is why maybe I'm a little bit of a sucker for Cam, is because he's got some good tape and he's got some bad tape. But his good tape might be some of the best tape I've watched out of any corner in this year's class when he went up against Marvin Harrison Jr., and Jr. had 3 catches, 32 yards, and no touchdowns. There was only 2 games at Ohio State this past year where Marvin Harrison failed to find the end zone. One of those games was matched up against Cam Hart in a game that Ohio State won 17-14. He is a boom and bust prospect. Like, I'm telling you, he's either going to be a really good corner in the NFL or he's going to be out of the league, I think, in like 4 or 5 years. I am a believer in Antonio Pierce. I am a believer in Patrick Graham. I am a believer in our Raiders defensive coaching staff. And because of that, I am willing to take a swing on a miss on a guy like Cam Hart because this coaching staff has shown me that when they swing, they do end up hitting a lot. I will admit, his tape is super frustrating because there's opportunities for him to make a lot more plays on the ball, and he just simply can't do it. Like, you want to talk about it like guys that have ball skills, Cam Hart don't have ball skills. Like, he does not know how to catch a football to save his life, and that shows up on tape to me, which, yes, it does scare me. And I don't know if that's going to be something that he's realistically ever going to be able to learn, and I know it's something that I want in a corner because the Raiders have struggled forcing turnovers. However, though, because of his physicality, because of his size, because of the upside athletic ability in this coaching staff, I am willing to target Cam Hart in round 4 at pick 112. I don't really want to take him in round 3. I've done it before in a mock. Don't like how the mock ended up going. To me, it's a round 4 target for the silver and black, and if you can get him in round 5, hey, even better. So my question to the nation out there is, which round should the Raiders target a cornerback in the draft? If I told you at the end of the 2024 draft, Telesco and AP, they took one corner, would you want it in round 1, round 2, round 3? Let me know. This is going to be the pinned comment on today's show. I want you to scroll on down and give me your answer of which round should the Raiders target a corner. This one's a little bit tricky because if the Raiders go into the draft and they don't end up looking at an Xavier Howard and a Dory Jackson, and they don't go out and sign a cornerback 1, I know this team is interested in that. AP said it. They also worked out Trey White before he ended up signing elsewhere. If they go into the draft and they don't have one, I'm going to sit up here and I'm going to say, like, you better get a corner in one of the first 3 rounds. The corners in round 3, I'm not crazy about. There is one guy who I'm about to talk about here, though I'd like for him to be able to go a little bit deeper. But round 2 is where I love the value, and then there's obviously my 2 favorite corners in this class, which we'll talk about here in just a second. Let's go to number 7 on my list, and this is one of those guys that I'm kind of kicking myself in the ass for not paying a little bit more attention to him. Max Melton out of Rutgers. This was a guy that's kind of been going under the radar for me personally, and over the past week since I've started doing these type of shows and I've been watching a lot of tape, I've been looking at some of my notes, talking to some of the people that I trust in the industry, Max Melton to me might be one of my new, my guys. He is a versatile inside-outside corner who just got better every single year with the Scarlet Knights. Highly instinctive, which I'll always give credit to Rutgers players, and maybe this goes back to my time on the East Coast. One of my good buddies, he got recruited by Rutgers and got to know Greg Schiano really, really well. And, teams looked at Schiano players because of how well they were coached and how well a lot of times that translated to the NFL. One of the things Bill Belichick used to always say is, they looked for Rutgers players. I know y'all don't like New England. I know you don't like Bill, but, Bill did know defense. That's not really, you can't really debate that. He does have good ball skills. When he has the opportunity to force a turnover, he takes advantage of it. I will admit, he is better in zone coverage, which I think the Raiders are going to run a little bit more press man, but he is okay in man. He's at his best when, and this is probably due to his instincts, if you will, where he can sit back in his zone, he reads the quarterback's eyes, and then he jumps around and makes a play on it. He's also doing this in the Big Ten. Maybe that won't be as translatable at the next level because quarterbacks are better. Arm strength, accuracy, their eyes, all of that stuff involves. But also, Rutgers not spitting out a ton of NFL talent. And this is probably the best guy on that entire roster from last season. And he was challenged at times and always kind of just showed up. And he's got that mentality, dude. I'm telling you right now, he's got that Raider type of mentality that y'all are going to look for. A little bit of an undersized corner maybe compared to some of the other guys that I just talked about. But at 6 foot, 190 pounds, that athletic ability on top of the instincts, I'm a sucker for good instincts, and Max Melton shows that he gets better and better and better, has good instincts. It just might not be the best fit because he's more of a zone corner instead of a man. I got 6 more names coming up here on the show, but today's show is sponsored by Game Time. Last-minute tickets, say it with me, lowest price guaranteed. And if anybody hasn't already, I want you to download the Game Time app. $20 off with code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Some of the things that I love about Game Time are their flash deals, some of their zone deals. I'm a sucker for last-minute tickets because my life's kind of busy right now. Also, on top of that, I do think it's easy to find and buy tickets for every kind of event in your area. I don't care if you live in Dallas, Las Vegas, Seattle, Denver, New York. If you're looking for comedy, if you're looking for a concert, a sporting event, whether it's hockey, baseball, heck, if you're out in Sacramento, you might be able to watch the A's this upcoming year. But, you can get those tickets at the lowest price guaranteed. So if you're listening right now and you're like, all right, Mitch, how can I get last-minute tickets at the lowest price guaranteed? I'm glad you asked. All you got to do is download the Game Time app today. Use code CHATSPORTS, which is CHATSPORTS, for $20 off. If there's anybody else like me that's just trying to save up for other things in their life, because there's wants, there's needs. I know that these are more of wants out there. And if you got a need of, hey, I got to save up for a house, I got to save up for a wedding, and you want to be able to find popular events in your area, events for under $50, Game Time is the app for you. I promise y'all, you're gonna love this app a lot. You're gonna use it all the time. Chat Sports, $20 off. Links down in the comments and in the description of today's show. Let's go to number 6 here on my list. It's Cooper DeJean from Iowa, and I really wish he did not get hurt because I know that he's a Feldman freak, and if you guys don't know who Bruce Feldman is, I do think he's one of the best in the biz. And yeah, Cooper DeJean looks like somebody that's probably going to sell you insurance from State Farm, but I'm telling you right now, this guy could outrun you in khakis. Like, he's got starting experience as a corner. He's got starting experience as a strong safety, and I do think legitimately he is one of the best athletes in the NFL draft, regardless of position. He is instinctive zone defender with legit ball skills like a wide receiver, because there's guys that can catch like a corner, right? Like there's dudes that catch like a corner. Like Marcus Peters caught like a corner. He dropped so many pick sixes out there. But then there's other guys that can catch like a receiver. Cooper DeJean catches the football like a receiver, and when the ball comes near him, he takes advantage of those plays. In 10 games last season for the Buckeyes, look at the numbers up here on screen. But because of that versatility, I do think that he would be an intriguing fit. The reason why he's ranked a little bit lower on my list compared to some other people's lists out there is based on the zone fit. I will admit that there is a very intriguing idea that has been floated around the Raiders of, are they going to be looking for a corner safety hybrid? And if DeJean is on the board at 44, I don't think it's going to happen, but hey, everybody can dream here. I do think it's a name to keep in mind. The reason why he's also ranked number 6 on my list is because I think he goes in round 1. And I've talked to a lot of people here at Chat Sports about where they think he's going to go, and I think he goes in round 1. It's not somebody that I'm willing to take at 13. Like, there's other corners that I would just rather have at 13. But because he's probably going to go in the 20 to 32 range is why he's just a little bit lower on my board and on these rankings overall. Let's go to number 5 on my list here of cornerbacks to target in the draft. I'm going to go with Kool-Aid McKinstry. And this was one of the prospects that I was really curious to see what ends up happening to him this offseason. A lot of people thought he was going to be the number 1 corner drafted, I think, early on in some of the draft processes that we talked about. And he has the confidence in himself, right? Like, I'm also a big subscriber to, if you got a cool-ass name, you're probably going to be a hell of a football player. And to me, there's no way you're failing in the NFL with a name like Kool-Aid McKinstry, because that's a tough name. But he does have the confidence to play on an island. And I wrote that note down here because there's not many corners as a rookie that, one, would have the confidence in themselves to play on an island, two, let alone like be able to actually do it. Kool-Aid was unbelievable at his Alabama Pro Day. I've had one person who was there said, like, I'm telling you, he boosted his draft stock a lot. He's not like top-end speed fast, and you can see it on tape. His acceleration might be some of the best in this year's class at corner, and you really see it. Like, I want you to watch his acceleration when he returns punts, because there's not many guys that can legitimately go 0 to 60 in 2 steps, and that's what Kool-Aid can do. Like, he's going to get beat in the NFL, but, like, if you need somebody to just cover short, intermediate routes that can kind of play that inside-outside role for you, he's a very, very fun player to watch. Like, I would love to see what he looks like up against some of these quicker, twitchy receivers. Like, you put Kool-Aid up against Trey Tucker, he's cooking. Like, Kool-Aid's going to eat Trey Tucker up for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You put him up against the guy, and I know it's Devontae Adams, a route technician, that's where he's going to struggle. I think he would do okay against Jacoby Myers. Jacoby's a little bit more physical than somebody that he might be able to handle, but guess what? Kool-Aid's going to take on the competition. He's going to take on that challenge. Nick Saban couldn't say enough nice things about him, and a lot of people think that Kool-Aid probably is the corner that's more ready in terms of him and Terrion Arnold to start day 1. It's just a matter of what do you value, because if you're looking for a punt returner, kick returner, which the Raiders kind of are right now, and DeAndre Carter could be an option. I have him, though, ranked above some of those other guys because I am hopeful that you might be able to get him here at pick 44. And that's the only place I'm taking Kool-Aid McKinstry. Let's go to the corner that probably is my favorite corner, number 1 corner just for all teams out there in the NFL. But he's number 4 here on my list for the Raiders based on fit. And some people think that he's going to be able to play in any scheme out there possible. From what I understand, the Raiders are looking for guys that are a little bit more physical and not afraid to get up in your face. I just don't really see that as much on tape with Nate Wiggins. Like, he's got unbelievable speed, like 4.2, 840 dash type of speed. He can play in some scheme versatility. His playmaking ability does make him arguably the cornerback 1. I think for a lot of people that watch the show know that I'm very, very high on Nate Wiggins. But he does have that blazing recovery speed where I don't know if he's getting beat over the top. Like, he's got that ability where you might have a step on him or two because you beat him, but then all of a sudden he's in your back pocket and he's picking off the football. What drives me nuts, and the reason why I am putting him where I am on my list, is because he just plays with way too much cushion when they're in man coverage. Like when the Tigers this past season lined up in man, he's backing up, which he has a lot of confidence in himself. He's got a lot of confidence in his ability, and up against a lot of those players he's going up against in the ACC, he has that recovery time. If he does that in the NFL, he's going to struggle. I'm telling you right now, he's going to struggle, and it might be a little bit of a learning curve, but based on some of the other corners in this year's draft, based on the fit with Patrick Graham, Antonio Pierce, and the mentality that this team is trying to bring, Nate Wiggins is number 4 on my list, because if you're going to take him, you have to take him at 13. He's going to go in round 1. There are some people that still say that he might be the number 1 corner drafted in this year's class. He's long, he's lanky, he's 6'2", 185 pounds, 2 picks, 6 PBUs last past season with the Clemson Tigers. I just believe that there are 2 other corners that you would take at 13 that the Raiders like more / would fit more of the idea of what they're looking for in a true cornerback 1. For all those reasons, Nate Wiggins is number 4 here on my list. Before I get into my top 3, I want you to interact with Jeremy Chugs and I, IG, Twitter. I want you to be able to check out, all the stuff, all the content that we put out there. Jeremy had a wild day this week when the Houston Texans traded for Stephon Diggs. And, we also put out a lot of different ideas and totally different content than what you see on YouTube. Bottom line is, I want y'all to interact with me as much as humanly possible. I love this stuff. I love interacting with y'all. I love talking Raiders. And it also helps you guys get to know us better, which I think makes these shows a little bit more fun. All right, let's go to number 3 here. It's Ennis Rakestraw from Missouri. This might be one of those players that some people might scratch their head at if the Raiders take him in round 2. He's not really somebody that I think goes in round 1. He might with certain teams, especially if you're looking for a physical guy, because if you want a competitor, and I mean a competitor like that fiery nature, and I'm just going to throw out this name because it's a name that I think Raider fans know. Imagine if Jonathan Abram was good. Imagine if Jonathan Abram was a legit shutdown corner in the NFL, because that's like kind of what I think of with Rakestraw, where he's physical, he's mean, he's nasty, and he's got tons and tons of confidence, tons of swagger, and this is a dude where, Jack Jones, he's got that swagger. If Rakestraw can put it together with our coaching staff and Antonio Pierce, this guy is going to be one hell of a player. He is a press man corner. He is somebody that wants to get up in your face, and he wants you to know that he's there. He's not afraid to go mano-a-mano with you. He might not have the best ball skills. He's a good tackler. Now, he might struggle at times against some of these speedy receivers that are in the NFL, because that's just not his cup of tea, if you will. If you put Rakestraw up against Jacoby Myers, I'm going to have a lot of faith in Rakestraw to get that job done. If I'm not even going to say Devontae, because not many people are going to go up against Devontae and win, but because of the receivers that we have, I'll keep saying, you put him up against Trey Tucker, and he might struggle against a guy like Trey Tucker. If you want a solid corner that can keep somebody in front of him and 15 yards in front of you, he's going to have success, he is. He's going to need safety help over the top. But again, we got Merrick, we got Marcus Epps to be able to help him do that. For a year 1 corner, can be good. You give him 2 to 3 years with this coaching staff, and Rakestraw has it up here to really, really make it work for the Silver and Black. Before I get into my top 2, if the Raiders draft only 1 corner, who should it be? You only get 1 corner to choose from. Are you going to go with somebody that needs to go in round 1? Are you going to go with somebody that I haven't even mentioned on this show? Give me a homework assignment. I'm down for it. Are you going to go with somebody that just continues, his stock just goes up and up and up? Because I want a true cornerback 1. And if the Raiders are unable to get one in free agency, the number 1 corner that I want the Raiders to get is one of these next 2 guys here. Coming in here at number 2, it's Quinion Mitchell out of Toledo. And I don't care where he played college football. You could put Quinion Mitchell on any college football team, and he might be the best corner on that team. There's not too often you see a player that's built like a running back, tackles like a strong safety, but also has the ball skills and coverage ability like a corner. I mean, he's a unicorn to me at this position. If you want another sports reference, he's the John Morant of college football. John Morant, you watched him in college, you're like, this guy is different. I don't care where he played. I don't care that he played at a smaller school. Quinion Mitchell, and I had a source, we had some guys at the Senior Bowl, they told me he was the best player at the Senior Bowl, and it wasn't close. When you're dominating on every single level, combine, Senior Day, or not Senior Day, the Senior Bowl, and you're doing it on the field against Toledo. Like, his outstanding burst, his recovery time, it's unbelievable, man. Like, watching him play at times at Toledo, like, reminded me of when you watch somebody really, really good in high school, and then they go translate to college football. Like, Mitchell should not have been at Toledo, and he was toying with people. And, you look at a lot of these numbers here, and what's funny is his 2023 season was a lot better than it was in 2022. I know the 5 interceptions were there, but, like, people actually threw the ball near him in 2022 compared to the opportunities that he had in 23. Like, 62 attempts against him, only 27 completed passes, no touchdowns. I mean, the numbers speak for themselves. Quinion Mitchell is a flipping dog, and if he just continues to get better coaching staff around him, like, he has the upside to me to be like a Sauce Gardner, to be a legit corner in this league. And what's funny to me is I took Quinion Mitchell in the 3rd round of my very first mock draft I ever did. I really, really hyped him up, and some people hit me with, he played at Toledo. I don't care where he played football. If you watch this guy's tape and you don't love him, then to me, you just hate anybody with the name Mitchell. Coming in here at number 1, it's Terrion Arnold. And if you want to tell me who is the perfect fit at corner for the Las Vegas Raiders, it's this guy out of Alabama. Antonio Pierce loves him. Terrion Arnold is already, from what I told, have a very good relationship with the Raiders based on the combine, based on pro days, based on all of that stuff in between. He is a twitchy man-cover corner with outstanding athletic ability. He can play strong safety. He has that scheme versatility. And because of that competitive nature, because of that chip on the shoulder, because of that swagger, I literally think that he is the perfect corner to fit with Patrick Graham, with Antonio Pierce, and what this team is trying to accomplish this upcoming season. If you add Terrion Arnold at pick 13, okay? Legit, like, if you add Arnold to 13, and then it's Jack Jones, Nate Hobbs, Trevon Merrick, Marcus Epps, let's just say it's Robert Spillane, Divine Diablo, and then Max Crosby, Malcolm Kuntz, Christian Wilkins, Adam Butler, Tyree Wilson. I'll say it. It's the best defense in the National Football League. And if you think that you can have the best defense in the league, if you're a believer that defense does win championships, like, Arnold might be the pick that you want to go out and get. Was he targeted a lot this past season at Bama? Yes, he absolutely was. And he was the outside corner next to Kool-Aid McKinstry. And there's some people that think that, Kool-Aid's the better corner right now. He might be the better corner right now. But to me, the only cornerback in this year's class that if you told me 3 years from now the best corner in the NFL came out of the 2024 NFL draft, who is it? My answer would be Terrion Arnold if he's drafted by the Las Vegas Raiders. And that's my answer. Like, I literally think that his upside is that high based on the coaching staff, the mindset, the scheme fit, everything else around him. He is Marshawn Lattimore to me. Like, that's what Arnold's going to be. And if you can get Marshawn Lattimore, sign me up for that. So let's look at here one more time my top 10 corners in the NFL draft that the Raiders should target. And some of these dudes, I'm not saying that Cam Hart and Max Melton are better than TJ Tampa. I'm simply just saying I like the value better. And then in my top 5, these dudes are all going in the top 50 picks of this year's draft. But because Terrion and Quinion really give you that ability to potentially have the best defense in the league, I'm going to bet into that. My favorite corner in the 2nd round is Ennis Rakestraw out of Missouri. A lot of different fits, a lot of different schemes. If you could take a screenshot of all those, post them on IG, post them on Twitter. Don't be afraid, tag Chugs and I. If you made it this far in the video, that definitely means that you like awesome draft content. For more updates around the silver and black and for more videos like this, make sure you're subscribed. Make sure those notifications are turned on because we're going to bring it every day. If the Raiders draft only one corner, who should it be?
And you had some people coming for you in the chat during that.
Oh, I know that.
What
happened?
They're mad that you didn't put Kyrie Jackson in your top 10.
I know that Jackson is a corner that the Raiders like. I will say that. I know for a fact he's a corner that the Raiders like. They might even have a visit with him. If my memory serves me correct, they might even have a visit with him. Now, again, you're talking about a lot of people out West Coast that like Oregon guys. Like,
I do think something can be said, though, of how deep this cornerback class is. Now,
I'm making a top 10 list, and there's I think that there could be 35, 40 corners drafted this year.
The Texans need a starting corner, and they decided to trade back from 23 to 42 because they felt so confident in the second-round corners in this year's draft. Because there's guys like a Max Melton, a Kyrie Jackson, a TJ Tampa that you're going to be able to get in the second round.
Lasser from Georgia is another corner.
Kamari Lasser, Mike Sanders.
I put TJ Tampa over him, and I have Ennis Rakestraw over him. But, like, you know, what I also wanted to do with the top 10, like, there's so many corners that I could have put on this show.
The Raiders, if they wanted to.
I probably should have done top 20.
The Raiders, if they wanted to, which I know you kind of like him more on the inside, if they wanted to draft Sane still out of Michigan, put him in the slot, and put Hobbs on the outside.
See, they don't want to put Hobbs on the outside, and I think that's the thing. They want to keep Hobbs in on the inside, and because of that, like, they do want to find somebody that is predominantly an outside corner. Now, like, they want versatility, and if Hobbs needs to play on the outside for a snap or two, like, it is what it is. But based on everything that I hear, I think that they're looking for solely Hobbs to play in on the slot. But let's go to Brandon. Bo Jackson, Tim Brown, Barry Sanders, and Charles Woodson, all Heisman winners. I believe they are all in the Hall of Fame. Thoughts, Mitch? Yeah, I mean, they're all Hall of Famers.
Well,
I don't know if you're like you're
Bo Jackson. Is Bo Jackson in the Hall of Fame?
Actually, I don't know. He should be.
I don't think he is.
He probably doesn't have the longevity, but I'll always say this: like
I don't think he is.
The player to me that's the greatest running back that I've ever seen. Like, again, I didn't watch Bo live, but the greatest running back at their peak. Like, when I say peak, is you get one game, prime running back, anybody you want in the NFL, history of forever. I do think Bo Jackson's the greatest of all time. Like, one game.
No, yeah, Bo Jackson is not.
Yeah, didn't play long enough from agent. I'm with you. I do have to change my jersey here real quick, and then we're going to get into this content creator mock draft.
The real Raider Bat Dad, if the Raiders trade back from 13 to grab an extra second and third or more instead of trading back up into the first to grab Penix, how far back do you and Chug's opinion we should go and still get that's going to be tough because I think there's a lot of teams that if he slides past 13, they'd be willing to trade up and get him as well. It's going to be hard to gauge whether or not you can trade back and still get MPJ.
Yeah, I actually think, again, this is based off of what we talked about today. And, you know, one of my really, really good friends, again, like I'm talking guy that invited me to his wedding, said that the Raiders tried to trade up for the Dolphins, pick number 21. And I think based on that knowledge that I have now, knowing that the Raiders are trying to get another pick in round one, I actually don't know if they are going to legitimately try to trade back. Like, I think that they're going to be potentially looking at, can I get that extra first-round pick and then use that pick to potentially even, like, go up and get their guy in Jayden? Or, like, if you were the Raiders, would you do, like, a Terrion Arnold at 13 and then a J.C. Latham at a 21? Or a Talisi Fuaga at 13 and a maybe Quinion Mitchell still there at 21. Like, could be an option. Or again, which would make me want to jump off a bridge, take best player available at 13 and then get a Bo Nix at 21.
Yeah.
That would be me jumping off a bridge.
Brandon, yep. We figured it out.
Not for the injury, Brandon. I agree with you. I mean, I think everybody under the sun knows that Bo would have been a Hall of Famer. I mean, he was the greatest. He's the greatest athlete of all time to me.
Spoken. We love you, Mitch. F all the haters lately.
See, to me, I think people hate me, and I've said this before. I've even said it to people that DM me that watch the show. People hate me, and people hate content creators, and you know it's part of the biz. And I'm sure, Graf, if you're watching, if any other content creators are watching right now, they'll agree with this. People hate on us because they think that they can do exactly what we do. And I always say this, they probably can. You also probably can make a YouTube channel. You probably can talk about the Raiders. My question to you is, are you going to do it every day? Are you going to do it every day for 3-4 years? Are you going to provide enough content? Because it's easy to make a show for a month. It's easy to make a podcast for a week. It's easy to do something for 3 or 4 months. But are you going to be able to make enough content that people want to come back every single day? And I don't know the answer to that one. And I think we have just shown that we're reliable and that you guys know that you're going to be able to get content here. And Don't get me wrong. Like, there's going to be days that some people watch this show and they're like, I just watched this for 3 hours and all those guys did was some beer bongs, right? Like, but to me, like, that's what I like. I like that type of stuff because I'll always say when we invented the show, it was based on the idea of us just hanging out like a bunch of people and we're just talking shop, talking ball. And if I want to have a beer or two, like, let's do it. I don't want y'all to look at me as a Raiders reporter. I don't want y'all to look at Chugs as us just being some ESPN guys. I want y'all to be like, yo, I want to party with Mitch and Chugs. I want to do some beer bongs with them, but also know, like, you can have an honest football conversation. Like, I'm not a Raiders beat reporter, and again, Graf's in the chat right now. I would take my Raiders knowledge up against any other guy that covered Vic Tafer, Tashawn Reed, Vincent Bonsignor, Q, JT the Brick. Those guys do a great job at what they do. But I will take me personally being able to talk against the Raiders. I think I would run circles around every one of those guys. But that's just because we do it so often here. That's a big difference to me. Is what it is. What up to the 1,000 people here on the show? Are y'all ready to get into this content creator mock draft? And I'm going to refresh my phone here real quick. And if you want a chance to get in our 50-50 raffle, remember it's a $20 Venmo at Mitchell Renz 365. The last person to get in was Jason E.B. And right now we got 7 people in for a chance to win $70. Stephen H., Luis, Tuna, Frank, and then Jason E.B. are the names that are in. We're going to do this duck race at the end of today's show. And, dude, this content creator mock draft is going to be a lot of fun. What's up, LC? It's been a minute. Chugs, Mitch, get loud. Can I get a Raiders? LC, you a real one. I also saw another one coming in from Eric. What's up, Eric? Oh, dude, somebody said they watched the tunnel run. I'm jealous about that. There's a few things in Raiders history that I would love to be a part of. Like, love to be a part of. Eric, if the Raiders draft Penix, I think they should draft someone he has experience playing with, like his right tackle or a wide receiver from Washington. So, Roger Rosengarten, I just keep saying Rosengartner, just from Rosengartner from, what is it, Rookie of the Year, right?
I think so.
Yeah, Rookie of the Year. I think that that's somebody that you could target in round 3, round 4, the right tackle out of Washington, because all the other tackles that I want them to get, that I really love, are probably going to go in the first round. But I agree with you. Like, if you take Penix, you have to figure something out with your offensive line, because you can't roll in with, right now, if the season started today, it's Thayer Munford, Jordan Meredith are protecting his blind side. That can't happen, right? Like, you got to be able to switch something up there. A receiver from Washington.
They've got a couple.
They got a lot of good receivers. I'm not.
Jalen Polk.
Jalen Polk to me would be the one that would be the most likely. Like, Roma Dunze ain't falling.
McMillan.
Rome's going top 10. McMillan's interesting, but to me, there's a few other receivers based on what I think that they would rather go with than somebody like a Jalen Polk.
Yeah.
But it's not a bad idea to go with somebody that had so much success with them. I mean, obviously. Gary, what's up, Gary? Here's a fun question. Since the draft is coming up, and if the Raiders can only draft one college for the rest of their life, which would you pick and why? This is kind of a fun question. So based off of this question, what would you guys pick? If the Raiders could only pick players from one college forever, which college are you picking? I think if you would have asked me this last year, I probably would have said Alabama, but I don't know if you can say that now because Saban's not there. I saw somebody say Clemson. I'm not going to do that because Clemson's been a little hit and miss. LSU's an interesting one.
Maybe a hot take, Ohio State. Had a lot of good players. The Bosa brothers came
Ohio
from there.
State's a good one. Obviously, Stroud just came out of there. USC's
Marvin
intriguing.
Harrison Jr. You have all the corners that are in the league with Denzel Ward and Marshawn Lattimore.
I am seeing a lot of Georgias. I'm not going to pick Notre Dame. I'm not going to pick Michigan, Florida State. See, Anthony has the right mindset if Deion's staying there. From a content creator standpoint, like, if the Raiders get Shador Sanders, like, this show's going to go through the moon.
Graf said sneaky schools, Penn State.
I think he might just be saying that because I'm a Penn State guy. But Penn State is a sneaky school. They just haven't really been able to develop quarterback talent. Like, the way that I would answer this question and would be, which school do I have the most confidence to be able to build to get me a franchise quarterback?
Would you do Michigan or Ohio State?
Out of those two, Ohio State. I think Ohio State quarterbacks have had more success recently. I know Tom Brady, but recently, which even Ohio State quarterbacks haven't had all that much success. Just think that there's more talent coming out of there. But I would look for the school that can give me the best quarterback. Gary, I think it's a good question. I like that one. Vincenzo said Iowa. Absolutely not. Absolutely, positively not there on Iowa.
Take Iowa quarterbacks.
Brock Purdy.
Iowa State.
Iowa State. Yep, F me. That's embarrassing. Iowa has produced a lot of good tight end talent, though.
You'd have one hell of a tight end room.
You would have a hell of a tight end room, which for some fans, they like a good tight end. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you got to like a good tight end. Kentucky Daddy from Duloc. Now you guys are just getting out of hand.
All right, here we go.
We got a content creator mock draft coming up here on the show, and I'm excited. I'm excited for this one. So coming up right now, let's get into it here on the Raiders Report. Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report. And coming up, we got a content creator mock draft that I'm excited to dive into. Today's show is presented by Manscaped, and if you haven't already, use code Manscaped or use code Raiders at manscaped.com for 20% off, and you're going to be able to get free shipping. If you're an old man like Wasted and you still need to be able to get in those hard-to-reach places without pulling your back, Manscaped's got all the awesome products to help make sure that even Wasted and Graf are still getting a little bit lucky. So coming up here on the show, I asked 8 different Raiders content creators to help me with a mock draft. I gave one person each a pick, and essentially I sold them on every single one of the, hey, this guy was taken, now you're on the clock. This guy was taken, now you're on the clock. I sent them DMs, I sent them pictures, and I got reasons why they decided to pick each person they did. If you're wondering, well, Mitch, who the hell made all the picks? I'm glad you asked. Here is our Raiders 2024 draft picks. Round 1, Graphic Raider. Round 2, pick 44 was Sanjeet. Wasted Talent at 77. Round 4, my guy Simone Raider. In round 5, Hammer House. Round 6, Honcho Raider. Round 7, Kenny King Jr. And then round 7, 229, my guy Tristan Kuhn, or some of y'all know him as Scout. If you want to see more content like this, hit that like button. To me, I've been doing a show like this at least once a year, and I wish more Raiders content creators would get together, have those fun conversations, because it's tough being a content creator. It's tough making free content every single day, and I want us to be able to work together a little bit better. Now, obviously, the people that I have picked are people that I have been able to build awesome relationships with, and if somebody watches the show and you make a YouTube show or you got a podcast, you're like, hey, Mitch, I would love to be a part of this next year. I want to be able to do more than just one of these even this year. So if you want to see more content like this, and if you want to see us be more together as a nation, hit that like button. I'm really trying to sell this one to my bosses. So here we go. Let's go through this NFL mock draft. Picks 1 through 6. Caleb Williams, Jayden Daniels, Olu Fashanu go off the board. Drake May trade up here for the Minnesota Vikings. Marvin Harrison Jr. goes off the board at 5. Malik Neighbors to the New York Giants at 6. From 7 to 12, Dallas Turner, Joe Alt, Jared Verse, Roma Dunze, and because Arizona ended up trading back, they get Brock Bowers, tight end from Georgia. And then the Denver Broncos off the clock here. J.J. McCarthy, quarterback from Michigan, with Sean Payton. So that means Graphic Raider is on the clock, and this is going to be the pinned comment here. Who should Graph go with at number 13? Based on the picks that have already been made, y'all are about to get hit with the YouTube ad break. I want you to scroll on down and give me your answer of who Graph should pick. With the 13th pick of the 2024 NFL Draft, Graphic Raider has selected Terrion Arnold, cornerback out of Alabama. Now, with every single one of these picks, I asked them to give me a paragraph, maybe 2. I'm wondering if Graf was just on a typing spree because homie really laid into this one. So here's why Graf ended up going with the corner out of Alabama. I believe Tom Telesco would like to go right tackle at 13, Fuaga, Latham, Mims. But as the defense becomes our strength, once Josh McDaniels was let go in 2023 season, I believe AP and Graham get their guy, Terrion Arnold, at 13 to continue to build on the defensive side of the football. With Mahomes and Herbert within the division, you need a potential shutdown corner opposite of Jack Jones. With Wilkins being our major pickup in free agency, it's apparent we are now a defensive-minded football team. Arnold fits the Raiders' mold. Keep an eye on Winion Mitchell as another option at 13 as well. Telesco drafting Arnold could potentially remove the black eye of him, once paying J.C. Jackson big money in LA. My grade for the Raiders and for Graf, going with Arnold here, I'm going to give it an A grade. And the way that I grade is A, I loved it. B, it's good. C, it's average. D, it's bad. F, it's a fail. I'm also going to be giving out some A pluses, A minuses, Bs, all this type of stuff here. But I think it's a great fit. He's my number one corner that I think that the Raiders should go out and get based on overall fit with AP, Patrick Graham. So Graf, salute to you for getting us off here to a good start. If you're looking for more mock drafts here around the silver and black, it's always about just win, baby. Hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications. That way, anytime I drop a video, y'all get notified. Like, I know this. I know my guy, okay, Sanjeet's getting booty calls left and right. And when he gets a booty call, bang, he's got that text message right there, and he's got it. I want y'all to think of the Raiders Report as that booty call. When you get that message that goes, oh, I'm going to click on that. Bang, you're clicking on it. Plus, we're going to be live for the 2024 NFL Draft picks before you see them up on TV. Speaking of Sanjeet, he's on the board here on the clock at number 44. And I see a lot of people down in the live comments are like, oh, Sanjeet, he's going to be going with an offensive lineman. That's kind of what he's known for, and I think he's one of the best in the biz, one of the most intelligent people in the industry at offensive line talent. With the 44th pick in our Raiders mock draft, Sanjeet is going to go with quarterback Bo Nix out of Oregon. Now, I already told Sanjeet, I'm like, man, I'm not going to like this pick, and I got to give him his flowers. He was like, people are soft. It's okay if you want to rip into me. And he's still stuck to his guns, and that's why I freaking love Sanjeet. That guy is a gangster. So this is what he had to say about Bo. Bo is everything you want in an NFL quarterback. On tape, he has shown us he has the ball placement and accuracy to make every pass. At the same time, he can play within a structured offense, something not all college quarterbacks can do. Nix is also very athletic and has shown us he has the ability to consistently create a trait that the Raiders' current quarterbacks do not have. Now, if you watch the show, you already know. I'm going to give it an F grade. I do not think that the Raiders can afford to draft Bo Nix. I think that he is a guaranteed bust in Las Vegas based on his skill set, based on his talent, and based on him simply just saying that he couldn't handle the pressure at Auburn and the SEC. It's why he went to Oregon. If you can't handle the pressure of Auburn, I don't know how you're going to be able to handle the pressure of the Raiders, the NFL, and Raider Nation. If you want to see a more outlined video of why the Raiders cannot afford to draft Bo Nix, and shout out to the real ones out here. Might date myself a little bit. I'm a 93 baby. How many people know what this is? Because I don't even know if Chugs knows what this is. Only the real ones out there. My mom used to put this on everything. Mr. Yuck, salute to you. Let's go to round 3, pick 77. One person who I know for a fact knows who Mr. Yuck is. It's Wasted. Wasted's been around, I'm pretty sure, before the Raiders were even a team. I think at that time when Wasted started doing content, they were known as the Oakland Seniors. But you know what? I don't care how old you are out there. This is a sponsor that I want all y'all to pay attention to. And there's a lot of times, man, I make jokes. I say certain things. I love Manscaped because Manscaped has always allowed me to be exactly who I am. Manscaped is the sponsor that I think Raider fans should pay attention to because this is them, because Raider fans want to be them. And that's what Manscaped allows us to do. And this month, they are totally changing the game. So not only is Manscaped sponsoring the Raiders Report, did you know one man every hour, every day is diagnosed with testicular cancer? In fact, testicular cancer is the most common form of cancer amongst men aged 15 to 35. With April being National Testicular Cancer Awareness Month, our friends over at Manscaped have partnered with the Testicular Cancer Society to help spread awareness for men's health and early cancer detection. Visit manscaped.com/TCS to learn how to check yourself for early signs of cancer. And as always, you can use promo code Raiders for 20% off plus free shipping at manscaped.com. In addition to providing the right tools and solutions for comfortable and easy grooming, Manscaped is committed to raising awareness and giving support for fighters, survivors, and families impacted by testicular cancer. This is why they will be donating $50,000 to the Testicular Cancer Society. Help save lives and balls by going to manscaped.com/TCS and sharing their funny educational check yourself video. And while you're at it, grab 20% off plus free shipping with code Raiders, because like a famous American philosopher once said, take care of your chicken, your balls, and your mentals. And seriously, men between the age of 15 to 35, you should check your balls every day, making sure everything's okay. Now, a guy like Graf, Wasted, that are in their 40s, maybe don't have to worry about it as much. But if you're watching this show right now, I just want you to be aware of everything at all points. Plus, their male grooming products are the best in the biz. Code Raiders, manscaped.com. Shout out to Manscaped for hooking us up here. All right, let's go now to round 3, pick 77. Wasted Talent is on the board, and I was a little bit nervous when I sent Wasted when he had to make his picks because I know Wasted goes to bed at like 7:30 and he gets up at 4 like most men in their 60s do. And at pick 77 in round 3, he's going to go with Peyton Wilson, linebacker out of NC State. And I'll tell you what, this is one of my favorite picks, if not the best pick in this mock draft. I'll also say that I don't think there's any way in hell Peyton's going to fall to pick 77, but maybe some teams are afraid of some of the injury history, and if this ends up happening, I'm going to be streaking with my balls hanging out thanks to Manscaped. They're going to be looking great because I'm going to be going through the halls of Chat Sports here screaming that we got Peyton Wilson, especially if we get him in round 3. Why did he end up going with the NC State linebacker? New Raiders general manager Tom Telesco and coach Antonio Pierce, former linebacker, have stated that the team will be a defense-led football team, so it would be fitting for the Raiders to select Peyton Wilson, linebacker from NC State. Wilson, who stands at 6'4" and weighs 235 pounds, is a freak athlete who ran the fastest 40 time for linebackers at this year's Combine in true Raider fashion, clocking in at 4.43. In college, Wilson was highly productive with a total of 402 tackles, 48 tackles for loss, 1 forced fumble, 13 passes defended, 7 interceptions, and 15 sacks. He was also a unanimous All-American, the ACC Defensive Player of the Year, and a first-team All-ACC selection in 2023. Wilson's skill set and mindset will fit perfectly with what the Raiders are building, making their defense downright scary, adding this explosive every-down linebacker to Patrick Graham's scheme. Wilson has the potential to be a future Pro Bowl player. I'm telling you right now, he will be a Pro Bowl player if he ends up staying healthy. My grade on this one is an A+. He's the best linebacker in this draft. He's the perfect fit for Patrick Graham. I would have given an A if you would have gotten him at 44. Because we're able to get him here at 77, I don't see how you don't give this anything but an A+ grade. Let's go to round 4, 112. My guy, Samoan Raider. And tell me how many people were watching the show when the Mayock legs happened. That's how old school this is, right? Samoan here on the clock, round 4, pick 112. He's going to go on the offensive side of the football, and this is a player that I've talked about, and I've even said I believe is the most likely to be drafted at the wide receiver position. He's going to go with Brendan Rice out of USC, the son of Jerry Rice. 45 catches, 791 yards, 12 touchdowns last season with the Trojans. You put him next to Devontae Adams, Trey Tucker, and Jacoby Myers, good luck trying to stop that offense, including with Michael Mayer. Why did Simone go with Brendan Rice? Here's the reason. With the Raiders releasing Hunter Renfrow, that leaves the wide receiver 3 spot wide open for someone to take. And with free agency coming and going, I doubt the Raiders bring in anyone at this point of the offseason. So to me, you're able to add a little bit more depth here. On top of that, Simone said the NFL draft is right around the corner, and there are plenty of young receivers the Raiders could pick up with their wide receiver Brendan Rice still available at 112. It was a no-brainer pick. He's got all the tools to be a star in this league with size and athleticism. Brendan would complement this wide receiver room perfectly alongside Tay, Jacoby, and Tucker. It's also a plus that he's the son of Raiders Hall of Famer Jerry Rice. For me, I'm going to give this one a B+ grade. It's not that I don't love the pick. I like this pick a lot. I think Rice is a good fit with the Raiders. I've also said if the Raiders take any receiver in this year's draft, the one that I believe is the most likely is Rice, because one of the things that the Raiders are doing right now, and you see with some of their coaches, they're looking for player coaches that have some of those ties previously. Rice obviously has a lot of ties with his dad, and I do think knows how he's going to be able to make it. The reason why I'm giving this a B+ is because there were other players available in this mock that I would have rather we ended up going with based on other bigger time needs, like offensive tackle, right tackle especially, was one spot that I would have rather gone, but I'm okay with this pick. I gave it a B+. Let's go to round 5 at 148. With a name like Hammer, you know for a fact he's using Manscaped. And coming up, I'm going to tell you who Hammer drafted at pick 148. But if you guys want to give these dudes a follow on X, Twitter, I put their Twitter handles also in the description of this video. You can find all of them. All you got to do is copy, paste this, and you're good. They're providing Raiders content. I think Raider fans might be some of the most spoiled fans out there right now with the amount of good, consistent content on a regular basis. Some of these are my favorite. I'm sure we're going to be able to add more as the season goes on. But shout out to all of them for taking time out of their day to help me make a video here on the Raiders Report. Let's go to round 5, pick 148. Hammerhouse ends up selecting Ray Davis, running back out of Kentucky. And This is my number one running back that I target in round 5. I love the value here. I think he's going to be a hell of a back in the NFL. He fits exactly what AP, this running system, wants to do, power run style. But I was like, Hammer, you got to tell me, why are you going to roll with Ray Davis? He said, Ray Davis, granted, we did get a bit of a swing back in Madison via free agency. The Raiders want to run heavy offense and depth at running back. Davis possesses vision, blocking, and one-cut ability that can make him a potential starter for the silver and black. I'm going to give this one an A- grade because I do think it's terrific value, and he is going to be a good fit in this offense. I'll say, I don't know how much work he might get in year 1 if it's Zamir, Madison, and Ray Davis. This definitely hurts the chances of a guy like Sincere McCormick maybe making the roster. However, I'll also say, this gives you, the Raiders, the ability to be able to evaluate talent and say, all right, Madison, thanks for helping us out this year. We'll see you later next year. And then you're going into the next season with Ray Davis and Zamir White, 2 very solid backs. I had to give it an A- grade. I love the pick, but based on value, Ray Davis in round 5 at pick 148, A- compared to Peyton Wilson, A+ 77. So very good picks. It just had to separate the value there a little bit. Let's go to round 6. Honcho Raider at 208. And at this point in the draft, I'm always looking for upside. I'm looking for guys that I think might also be able to help me out a little bit. Special teams, solid depth, and I like the depth here that Honcho was able to get. Round 6, he's going to go with Caden Wallace, offensive tackle from Penn State. A lot of the conversation has been on left tackle Olu Fashanu, who's probably going to be a top 15 pick, right? Caden is a little bit more of a project player. 6'5", 341 pounds, allowed 1 sack this past season, and I like the move. I will also say, if you put Caden Wallace up against Dalton Wagner, that's a hell of a tackle battle to watch this offseason. The reason why Honcho ended up selecting Wallace is because great fundamentals and technique while playing with a higher motor. He has a great ability to get to the second level to find and land on linebackers and run blocking. Needs some work in pass blocking, but does flash the potential with good arm length and fast punch to reach pass rushers. He also versatile enough to play elite tackle or guard in the NFL. Solid backup with upside as a starter down the road. And I do like James Craig. I think he's one of the better offensive line coaches out there. It's going to be hard replacing Carmen Brasillo. I am going to give this one a B+ grade because the Raiders do still need some extra depth there at the offensive line position. I'll also say that there's a lot of people that think Caden Wallace is going to be only an offensive tackle. I'm kind of in the boat of you could put him at offensive guard, OT, and if right now you said, hey, Dalton Wagner, you're going to be our backup right tackle. Hey, Caden Wallace, you're going to be that extra offensive guard prospect that just needs an extra year or 2 to build, and who knows, could end up being something special in a few years. Let's go to round 7, pick 223, Kenny King Jr., and I was very interested to see how these final round 7 picks would go because at this point, I just want to be able to find players that I think are best player available, and that's exactly what Kenny did here. He's going to go with Juwan Briggs, 6'2", 300-pounder defensive tackle from Cincinnati, who had 27 tackles, 2 sacks last season. And when I asked him, why'd you go with this pick, he said this. Briggs is built to play multiple gaps inside. His pass rush is a little to be desired, but he carries a ton of ferocity and pressure in the run game. With a more compact frame, Briggs can be considered to take on 1-4 gap and make lanes available for Crosby and Kuntz. Now, I think this is a good player, okay? And some people are going to see my grade here of a C, and they're going to be like, why do you hate Kenny King Jr.? I love Kenny. I want to have asked him to do this show. But this is an average move to me solely based on need. It's crazy, but I think right now the position I might be the most confident in for the Raiders is that defensive tackle room. They have so many other players there where you have Wilkins, Adam Butler, John Jenkins. And on top of that, right, you got Nesta Jade Silvera, Marquand McCall, both players that the Raiders decided to give future contracts to. On top, you got Byron Young, Matthew Butler. It's a lot of defensive tackles. A lot of movement has to go around. Do I think this adds good competition? Yes, I do. I just would have went a different direction because of all the other defensive tackles that we already had on our roster. Let's go to round 7 now, 229, with my guy, Scout. And Scout's been a little bit of a busy bee, and I think he's just starting to realize the older you get, you start being a little bit busier out there. One of the smartest people, though, one of the most well-connected in all of Raider Nation, and I love his pick here at 229, and it's Gabriel Murphy, the edge out of UCLA. So Murphy is a twin. He's got a brother, also played at UCLA, and this is one of my players that I continue to talk about and just saying, like, he's the real deal. Chugs is in the background going like this. I don't know if you guys know why. Former North Texas guy, but 38 tackles, 8 sacks this past season with the Bruins. Tristan, a.k.a. Scout, Wige ended up going with the pick. The twin brother of Grayson Murphy, also at UCLA. Gabriel has torn up the college landscape since his time at North Texas. While undersized at only 6'2", 230, Murphy demonstrates insane bend and twitch off the edge, shown often in his 21.5 career sacks and 149 pressures, including 55 in 2023. He's got a strong lower body, good hand moves and burst, while defending the run at a strong level. The Raiders lack a fourth edge rusher after the initial 3, and adding a high upside, highly athletic pass rusher that can slide into certain packages and simply pin his ears back is never a bad strategy late. This one, I'm going to give an A-plus grade, and it's simply because this is a dude that if I was somebody like Murphy, I would be like, I would love to go where Malcolm Kuntz went. And the reason why I say that is Malcolm was looked at as a player that nobody cares about, undersized, and people push him to the side. And then he just had 8 sacks in 9 games with Antonio Pierce. You look for a player that might be your Malcolm Kuntz replacement. Like, I want Malcolm to come back. I think everybody watching the show wants Kuntz to come back. He is going to be a free agent, and his price tag might go up if he has another great year. You have Murphy learn behind Malcolm for a year, and then do you hand him the keys to the car and say, hey, I need you to be that extra edge rusher? And I agree. You can never have too many edge rushers. I love this pick here. I love the value. He's my number 1 edge that I target in round 7. For that reason, I had to give it an A-plus grade. All right, y'all, here's your opportunity. Grade this mock draft A, B, C, D, or F, and don't be afraid to take a screenshot of this one, post it on social media, and tag all the guys that were involved in it, because I want more people to make more content like this, because at the end of the day, I think Raider fans have the best content creators in the entire world, and we need to acknowledge them a little bit more. So grade this mock draft A, B, C, D, or F. And my grade on this one, I gave it a B grade, which I love this mock draft. I really do, minus the Bo Nix pick. Like, that's the only one that I'll sit back here and I'll look at and I go, damn it, like, we still have a need at quarterback. I don't think Bo's going to work out, and I don't want to focus so much on that, because if you still told me we get Terrion Arnold, Peyton Wilson, some of those other solid players that we got later on in the draft, like, we're building this thing the right way. We're building this thing going forward. That defense is going to be scary, scary good. It's a good mock. It just had the opportunity to be great. I'm not a Bo Nix fan. If you are a Bo Nix fan, you're probably giving this one an A-plus grade. So on, so forth. Again, shout out to every single person that participated in this. I had a lot of fun doing it. And if you want to see more content like this on the Raiders Report, I need you to click that like button right now. Oh, man. What do we got here? Level of confidence to get the draft right, 1 to 100. 1 to 100. Have a good day, Graf. After seeing that.
Good draft.
Again, I thought that was a really good draft for the Raiders. Like, I would have liked us to get a better offensive tackle talent. I'm not going to lie. I would have liked to get, obviously, a quarterback. I still don't feel like the Raiders had a quarterback. But in terms of our team right now, confidence in all of our guys, 1 to 100, I'm at an 80. Until you prove to me that you can't do it, I'm going to trust you.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with an 80 here. Let's go to Zach Nasty. If you had to put a percentage on us trading up for Jayden, what would it be? 15%? It's not high. Like, it's a 100% chance that they're trying. It's the fact that it actually gets done, 10 to 15%. I mean, and that's just how it is, right? Like, we were laughing today, Chugs and I, because Chugs made a video 2 weeks ago about the Texans could potentially trade for Stephon Diggs. And, of course, everybody in that comment section's like, you're an idiot. You don't know what you're talking about. And I got to give Chugs his flowers, because he goes, look at a lot of the other trades that are going on right now. I think Stephon Diggs is going to go for a lot cheaper than what people think. And, again, you're an idiot, blah, 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 blah. Bottom line is anything can happen in the NFL. But the chances of the Bills trading Stephon Diggs, if you would have asked me 2 weeks ago, I would have said 10 to 15%. Just like I said, not going to happen with Devontae Adams. Not going to happen with Khalil Mack. Shit happens in the NFL. 10, 15% is my answer on that. Let's go to Raider Wifey.
Oh.
We are road warriors. We went to Chicago and Indy to witness tough losses in 2023. What game do you suggest for 2024 for us to get to go see a win?
Well, I mean, based on what they did last year in the last game that they played them, the Chargers. You also going up against
Yeah.
Harbaugh his first year with the Chargers. And you can pick. They're both home games. You can go to a home game in LA.
Yeah. I'll say, before anybody out there picks games that they're going to go to, I am in some conversations with somebody out in Vegas that might want Jeremy and I out there, and we'll get to go for a few games. I don't know what those games will be yet, but essentially I'm working on something that you'd be able to hang out with Jeremy and I Friday and Saturday, and I would hope that you pick those games. So hopefully you guys show out.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's some good home games. Obviously, they play the big three, and then they play Browns, Steelers, Falcons, Panthers, Jags.
It's a tough schedule, dude. It's going to be a gauntlet. Also, I see 93 Navman is in for our duck race, which, Jeremy, brings us to this point. I'm going to send you all these names here, and we're going to do a duck race, and then we are going to get out of here. That's all I have for y'all, which you guys want me to message Tyree Wilson? He just messaged me on Instagram.
What did he say?
He said, thanks. That's from that video I made on him on Instagram of how many sacks he's going to have. So, thanks. Also, the person from LSU, the point guard, Haley Van Thith, I don't know her name, but
Haley Van Lith?
She's apparently popular. She's transferring.
Again.
There's your college basketball, women's college basketball stat of the day. You're welcome. You're welcome.
She's got to go into hiding after she got cooked by Caitlin Clark.
Bro, I mean, you want to talk about getting cooked? She got cooked. Also, I see another one in here for Raider Josh. I'll send those to you, Chugs. In. Raider Josh is in. Here's your final call to get in our 50-50 raffle. Josh is in, so that means right now winner gets $90. $20 Venmo for a chance to win 90. I'm going to give people like 60 seconds to get in. King Zay says Caitlin Clark, wifey as F. See, again, I don't know that. I'll say this, like I would love to play one-on-one against her. Like, just to see how good she is. I know she's unbelievable. Like, I want them. I saw like a report that the NBA is going to try to get a 3-point contest because they're already doing one with Steph and
they did it with
Steph. She's married to Ronas Grosser, the old backup center.
Sabrina Ionescu.
I know her first name. I was not going to try to butcher the last name, which maybe now it's Grossu. I don't know. And then they're also going to apparently try to get one with Clay and Caitlin. Like, that would be a lot of fun. That would be a lot of fun. Joshua Bo, I don't know. So it was just a lie. I don't know what you're talking about, Joseph. Joshua.
It was all a dream.
All right, we got a few more that just got in.
I used to read Pinup Magazine.
Gabriel Ruiz in, and then Steve OK also in. So now we got 11 people in our duck race here at Mitchell Renz 365. Final chance to get in. What race are we doing?
I went with El Clasico because we haven't done it in a little bit.
Oh, all right. Let me see it. Let me see what it looks like. I haven't seen the El Clasico. Oh, wait, I think Zahn just got in. Yep, Zahn also in. And for those of you that don't know, which do you have the graphic, the March Madness? Because we're going to do those tomorrow. Could you just show them at the end of today's show? Okay, yeah, let's perfect. So these are the races that are going down tomorrow. And remember, one of these 4 people here is going to win $1,600. So we're going to do our final 4 races tomorrow. The championship race is going to be on Monday. So Monday will be the deciding factor of somebody's winning that type of money, which is kind of mind-blowing to me. So the winner between David Zahn and Jose Corona advanced to the championship. And then Troy Williams up against James Guevara. Both of those races tomorrow here on the Raiders Report.
You ready?
I am ready. I did one more refresh. Let me just make sure, because I thought I got one. I did. Hunter Jackson in. So now winner gets $130. $130. Good luck. Good luck. Good luck. All right. No more. No more.
All right, here we
John,
go.
Steven, Gabriel. Yep. We got the El Clasico.
Here we go.
3, 2, 1. Here we go. And out to the early lead, and I hope that's an arm on Gabriel Ruiz. That's all I'm saying. I don't know if it is. I think so. 93 Nabman looks like a green screen. I mean, that's legitimately what our green screen looks like. Jason EB, you know what they say? Big Bill? Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Right now, my money,
Frank got the
Raider
wasted
Josh
duck.
and then Jack's son. Which I see that's spelled weird now, but that's okay.
Frank got the wasted duck.
I don't even see Frank. Where is he?
Who's at the
Oh,
bottom?
yeah. Jeez. That poor man. That's an old duck right there.
Steve, okay?
Dude, I'll tell you what. Jason EB is low-key running a really good race here. So is Steven Huerta. 93 Nabman, and then it's an interesting spot. Uh-oh. Right here. Huerta. Wait. Frank. Frank the Tank. Jason EB. Frank with the win. You can't count out the old man. Who gets the butthole pick? And the butthole pick goes to Steven, and he's okay with it. Perfect. Steven, let me know. Scale 1 to 10. All right, Frank. How many races do you guys think Frank's been in? Frank, the last race Frank was in was 17 days ago. He's been in 2 races. Frank, my man, you are the winner. And if you can confirm down below, Frank, that you just received $130, that would be much appreciated. Dude, my nose recently, I don't know what's wrong with it, just itches all the time. I think I have a few extra hairs like right here that I just keep missing. I need to get my weed whacker from Manscaped. I got to go in there and just F shit up. Frank, if you're in the chat, please let us know that you received your $130. Congratulations to Frank. Big luck taking my 2 ducks out of the field. Yep, the real Raider said my third leg slowed me down. Yeah, probably. Yep, Luis said, you can't suck at it because it's rigged. I know because I was the one that won it last year. There's been some people that have won a lot of money. Nose wax, not going to happen. Matthew Y, 2 in the hand, 1 in the bush. All right, y'all. Jeremy and I are going to see you guys tomorrow, okay, here on the Raider Report, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. It's Friday, which means Friday happy hour. We're going to have some fun segments, some fun shows, some fun deals out there. I'm also going to unveil a brand new thing tomorrow. A brand new thing. It's not what we talked about, but I'm going to unveil a brand new thing because I've been saying, what am I going to start doing on Wednesdays now that I'm not doing locals anymore? I know I said I'd be live on Instagram yesterday, but I actually had to make a video for our Seahawks channel here at Chat Sports because Greg Van Roten tried out for Seattle, and everyone was like, I don't know who the hell that is, so I had to step in and make a video for them. On top of that, though, we're gonna do something new, and I have a new idea for Wednesdays, and it's going to be very personal, which is exactly the type of content that I want to make. So appreciate all of y'all. Peace out. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday. I'll see you tomorrow here on the Raiders Report for a little Friday happy hour.